Hi, everybody, and welcome to another episode of the United States of a Movie podcast, the podcast where every week we try to find one movie to define each state in the United States. First of all, though, do want to apologize that we didn't have an episode last week. I was incredibly sick. I could not speak. I could not breathe. I had not slept for 30-something hours, and we just had to, in the end, bump the episode. But thank you for your patience. Thanks for waiting, especially because there are some absolute banger movies this week, one of which Ryan and I love and Will hates with a passion. It's going to be one of those episodes, guys, before we get started, though.
And no, it's not the sequel to Twister. Twister is...
Let's welcome our fellas back to the show. My name is Oli and I love movies. I've always loved movies. I worked on television talking about movies, and my two co-hosts love movies even more than I do. From Arizona, the Wraith himself, Ryan Sandler, welcome back.
Man, it's so great to be here. It's safe to say maybe some of us on this podcast don't love movies or have a heart.
Wow. Okay. Coming in hot for the new year.
Well, I was thinking something similar, because then there was also Will Hirsch. He's in California. He's currently sitting in his movie store, a guy that loves all movies apart from Twister and the movie he's going to be talking about this week, because we don't know why. Will, welcome back to the show, buddy.
Thank you. Great to be here. And who picked that movie anyway? Who was the one who made the decision to finally pick that movie? I'm going to have words with them. Let me tell you.
Well, I'll tell you what, Will. Why don't we start with the movie you chose? Because the state that we are trying to take down this week is the state of Virginia. And of course, when we said Virginia, we all had ideas. Will had a great idea for a movie. We got all the way almost to the podcast needing to be recorded when we realized that movie is set in a completely different state. So what movie did you end up choosing?
I ended up choosing Major Payne with Damon Wayans, who I just want this on record. Put this on my gravestone.
Careful.
The Wayans are not funny. They have never been funny. They have never made me laugh. They are my favorite scene in movie history is where Marlon Wayans was killed in Dungeons and Dragons. Best scene in any movie ever made. Put that in my obituary.
I'm sorry. Scary Movie 1, Scary Movie 2, White Chicks, Little Man. The other one.
You're naming all unfunny movies.
Disagree. Though I will say I did try
Requiem for a Dream.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, is he?
Sure.
I don't even remember them in that. Who's in that one? Which of the?
That's Marlon. That's Marlon Wayans.
Marlon Wayans?
Oh, does he die in that movie too? Because then I love that movie.
Yeah,
I'm changing my opinion on that film.
I don't want to spoil it, but it doesn't turn out great for anyone.
It doesn't turn out well for anybody in that movie, actually.
Except the old man in the nightclub scene. He was having a great time.
Yeah.
One of those movies I have not watched. By the way, I'm like,
you gotta see
about my life.
Weirdly, it's one of those movies your daughter's going to ask you about.
Yeah.
Definitely do not watch it with her.
No,
I watched that movie with my mother.
Oh no.
Dude, I watched the Thomas Crown Affair with my mum in a theater, and it was like, like Rene Russo and Pierce Brosnan getting frothy. And my mum's like, woo! I wish I wasn't here right now. This is just the worst. But yes, Major Payne, because initially, Will chose The Patriot, which it turns out is a South Carolina movie. So he was kind of backed into a corner, and in no way was he manipulated by Ryan and Oli on our text thread.
Not at all. No.
Not in any way. We didn't put any sort of we didn't push him into a corner or make him watch it.
Not bullied in the least. No,
I mean, come on. Well, it's so fun. It's so weird that I still don't understand why the Patriot kind of popped up on that Virginia list. Is it because they have to go to Langley and break into the CIA headquarters and steal a government thing? I don't know. I don't know.
Yeah, I think that's exactly what happened.
It's so weird. Yeah, because the movie, it's on multiple lists online of it's in Virginia. And even when I've seen that list, I'm like, is it? Well, I guess Revolutionary War, sure.
Safe bet.
And I was just excited because it's the movie that finally depicts the British people as they actually are. Mm-hmm. And, as an American, you just can't help but love it. So
I
we're
mean,
saving that movie for the future.
It is arguably the least racist Mel Gibson movie.
Yes, very much. It's the movie that, in it says, hey, if just white people, black people are just around each other, racism is solved. There's no other, issue to deal with.
Well, Will, it's funny enough you say that because the movie that I chose for this week's episode is the 2000s movie that fixes racism. It's done. We can all just understand that everybody can get on because I went with, it's just a bit of a random one, but it's a movie I've always enjoyed. I find it a solid movie. It's 2000s Remember the Titans with Denzel, Will Patton. As always, he just kills it. Every time he's on the podcast, he absolutely kills it. And then just an absolute who's who of younger actors at the time. Ryan Hurst, Donald Faison, Kit Pardue, remember him? Ryan Gosling, Hayden Panettiere, Kate Bosworth. She's back on the pod. That movie, but I don't know why it does it. It's so Disney and it's so by the numbers movie, but it's really fun.
Yeah, once I got done, I was like, wow, this is a perfectly watchable movie.
Yeah, that's exactly. It's inoffensive. It's just I want to feel good and happy, and I want a bunch of needle drops. I want all these classic songs and things like that. And then I just want a kind of inspirational.
Great.
Yeah. It's that's kind of how I felt too. It was funny. I was watching this with my dad. I have not seen it since it came out in theaters, so a lot of it I was just like, oh yeah, this person's in it. 30 minutes into the movie, my dad was like, "Is that Ryan Gosling?" And that was like him the entire movie. Like, is that the guy from Scrubs? Like, but it would always take him like an hour into the film and be like, wait a second. That's just this movie.
Yeah, until you just said that, I completely forgot that Ryan Gosling is in this movie, like a lot.
Dude, the title is Remember the Titans. I can't believe you're forgetting this already.
I thought it was Sunday Night Lights. I was watching this, I'm like, I realized, oh wow, I'm not a sports person at all. I'm the most unathletic, but I do love a good sports movie. But I mean, I don't know what it is. There's just in my pantheon of sports movies, it definitely goes like baseball movies, football movies, and then to a lesser extent basketball movies, unless you're talking about Billy Crystal as the referee in Forget Paris. That's my favorite. That's it. That's my list.
Because Americans do your sports movies very well. Like I've even seen good golf movies. I feel like there's not a good soccer movie. I think soccer
Bend It Like Beckham
to make fun in a movie.
Yeah,
it's kind of hard to make a scene because you can set up a football play, American football play, and shoot it in a movie and make it look cool. Like soccer, you need a lot of skill to make it look good. And
unless you're that Taika Waititi movie that's coming out, that filmed like 10 years ago. Yeah.
That lit the nation on fire with how it just took the world by storm, that movie.
Well, see, should have tried to fix racism like that movie did, and everything was fine from that point on. From the year 2000 onwards, everything went great.
Absolutely.
But Ryan chose a movie, a dark horse. When he said he was doing it, I got excited. It's a movie I loved as a child, and it was one of those cases of it's a movie you've seen a million times as a kid. You haven't seen it for 25 years. You put it on wondering if it's going to hold up, and it's a banger. Absolute.
This was a very, very fun time for me. I mean, I remember I maybe saw this movie once when I was the age of the boy in this movie. I think we joked about that, and Oli and I, we were able to get on a Zoom call and watch this movie together. And really, I think it really enhanced the experience tenfold.
I could barely breathe for most of the movie as Ryan was giving me live commentary.
I felt like it was one of those, I felt like I was watching it for the first time because I hadn't seen it in so long, and I remembered none of it. I think I remember like a Short Circuit more than I do this movie, just because that's such a cult classic. But this movie is a top tier 80s sci-fi. It's a story about family. It's a story about family, guys.
It's about family and government conspiracies and murder and stealing SR-71 Blackbirds. This movie, it's got it all. It's very War Games adjacent. It's very Flight of the Navigator adjacent. It really does thread the needle of being one of those 80s movies, and much like Will's talked about, is like it's a bit messed up. It's a bit scary. It's like, oh, we're trying to kill this thing. It's like we're in danger.
Steven Spielberg is kicking himself in the dick for not thinking of this movie.
Oh, well, he did. He tried it with Haley Joel Osment, and
Yeah,
it looked pretty, but it's no Daryl.
You're thinking of Bicentennial Man, right?
Hey, you know what? I like that movie.
I do too, actually.
Yeah,
Bicentennial Man is a good movie. I'm putting it out there. It's schmaltzy and ridiculous.
Yeah.
It's just,
I mean, who doesn't love Robot Robin Williams?
yeah,
Come on.
it's like the same as what was it, that movie? What Dreams May Come. I just don't know. Put Robin Williams in.
Now that I'm thinking, wasn't Robin Williams also in AI as like the genie? Like when he goes into the town and he's trying to find the source of something, and Robin Williams does the voice for.
I don't remember.
Am I
I know
misremembering
exactly
that?
what you're talking about.
I'm sure everyone
like-
in the comments will let us know.
It's like
Yeah.
he goes to. It's like Google, isn't it? It's like just
Yeah.
I can answer any question you want. You know.
That's it. Yes.
I
And it's
don't
Robin
remember.
Williams,
Yeah.
right?
Well, I haven't seen
Wow,
that movie. That's
yeah,
another
need to
movie I
watch
watched
that
with
again.
my mum.
Nice little crossover. Yeah. The
That-
sex scene in that was graphic.
Oh man.
It was a good movie that is also like it's a movie that like had 4 endings. It was like Lord of the Rings, Return of the King. It just kept ending. And it was a sweet ending. I always feel like it should have ended with the whole just he dies under the water.
Yeah, right. I thought that's how it did end. No,
No, because then you get the extra 15 minutes where we go 3,000 years in the future and aliens have now taken over the Earth and they use a small piece of his mum's hair to bring her back, but for only one day. This movie's ridiculous. What am I talking about?
As opposed to D.A.R.Y.L, which has multiple endings in the middle of the movie.
Yeah.
And then keeps going.
Yeah, I think we paused it a couple times. Like, dude, there's like 40 minutes left.
Yeah, because
That's
it's the
nuts.
victorious baseball game moment, and we both. I mean, it's like you're just waiting for it to freeze
done.
when credits go over.
You're done.
Yeah, it was.
Daryl went on to play for the Minnesota.
For the Chicago, no, was it for the guys from Major Payne? No, Major League.
Yeah, that's it. Minnesota.
But I'll tell you
Or
what,
the Cleveland Indians.
I tell you what we're
Yeah.
gonna do. We're gonna save Daryl, okay? Because I know we're gonna talk about it a lot.
Much like Daryl saved us, we will
Yeah.
save Daryl.
Saved this week for me, yeah.
What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna start with a spoonful of sugar for Ryan and I, which is also a bullet to the brain for Will. We're gonna start.
Yeah, this is where I check out.
We're gonna start with Major Payne because the thing about it is Major Payne was, for me, like I remember seeing the trailers as a kid, getting it on VHS, loving the movie. Then I meet Mrs. Many years later, Major Payne has been a staple in her family as well. So it's a Pettigrew family classic. Ryan, he seems to have the same relationship with
I mean, I love this movie. It was on a lot when I was a kid too, and I really loved it, and I thought it was funny. And I'm like such a huge sketch comedy fan. I love growing up, loved SNL and In Living Color. And I was thinking to myself, I'm like, wow, this is not a character he'd ever done on that show that they then kind of spun into a movie, right? This isn't like Homie the Clown.
Yeah, it's
movie.
technically a remake of the Private War of Major Benson with Charlton Heston movie.
Oh,
Technically. But
Obviously,
yes,
yeah.
Major
does he
Payne.
call everyone turds in that movie? Because
Yeah,
I'm into that.
Well,
I'm into that.
I thought, Will, you might be excited about the fact that it's directed by Michael Myers. It's directed by Nick Castle, the actor that plays Michael Myers in Halloween.
Shut the fuck
and
up.
comes back for
So funny because
That's why it
killed
said
me,
directed
so
by The
that
Shape.
makes total sense.
Say that again, Will.
Oh, I said it's so funny because it killed me at the end of this movie. So
Wait, so
Yeah.
you're saying this is a Halloween movie?
It's just this is a Halloween movie, but yeah, it's directed by Nick Castle, very famously as he is Michael Myers in Halloween and the sequels. But apparently, he also directed a few movies. One of which is the Stone Cold classic
Stone Cold.
Major Payne,
Oh,
which
shit.
tells the story of Major Benson Winifred Payne. He is a badass. He is a battle-hardened Marine. You see in this opening scene that he can just take everybody out. But he is then told that he has to leave the military because, well, there's got to be somebody needs some killing.
An endlessly quotable film. Will, I'm wondering, what expectations did you have going into this?
Yeah, I'm fascinated.
Like, where did we go wrong here?
Will looks
And
like
again,
I-
to be clear, you picked this movie.
the enemy was inside of me all along.
You're being a real Michael Ironside about this whole thing. Just wanna tell you.
God. Oh, that's by the way, You cannot do like an X-Men First Class, which is you promised me Michael Ironside, and then he shows up for one scene and then like goes
Yeah,
away.
I always thought that
That
was bizarre.
you lose me. You put Michael Ironside in the movie, he is in your movie. That
Yeah.
is law.
Agreed. Yeah, he does turn up for one scene. He does absolutely kill it in that scene. Let's
Yeah.
be honest. But
Oh, the movie became good for a second. I was just like, oh, finally, here we go. It
so,
was just,
so yeah, essentially we're gonna do that thing that we do, but we're gonna get the plot out of the way just so Will can start ranting about this movie, and we can just
We should let Will say what the plot is.
Yeah, what's the plot of this movie, buddy?
think of the stupidest possible thing you could see Damon Wayans do. That's the movie. It's like literally, it's that typical like, I don't know. It's that genre of movie that I actually do like. The genre of film of big muscly macho man has to look after a bunch of kids. That is objectively a great genre of film. Kindergarten Cop being like top tier.
Best.
And then obviously the next one underneath that is Twin Sitters with the Barbarian brothers, Peter and David Paul. Obviously, we all know that that's the second best.
True.
I'm gonna go with The Pacifier with Vin Diesel.
That's like seventh.
I was thinking of this in a different lens. I was like, in a different genre of films, you have like your 187s, your Dangerous Minds, your The Substitutes, like where you have a teacher that's out of their depth,
Yeah.
but they're also a
Should've
killing
watched The
machine.
Substitute.
Yeah.
God, I love The Substitute. We should have watched that.
And you get like the Bad News Bears. Like I like all the genre. That, you know?
Random aside, actually, the pacifier popped into my head only because my son mentioned it the other day. Because the school was ending for Christmas break, and he's like, "Dad, do you know the movie The Pacifier?" And I go, "Oh yeah, Vin Diesel. Were you watching it?" He goes, "Yeah, but in German." I was like,
Oh.
could you imagine
God.
a more
What?
worse movie to watch in German than someone doing Vin Diesel?
Mr. Nanny in German.
Oh
Yeah.
God, that'd be
Nine!
great. I don't know, like, so yeah, it's that kind of film which normally I love, but Damon Wayans is doing this stupid voice the entire movie. It's the worst voice I've ever heard anybody do. It's so bad.
I think it's
Yeah.
such. It's yeah. If you're not expecting that, I can see where you're coming from. But
I
I
agree.
think it's such an interesting contrast to how like hardened and like robotic he is, D.A.R.Y.L. And I think it's just a nice balance. Like you get it just emphasizes the silliness with the seriousness of it. And it's
It does.
fucking ridiculous. And it makes me laugh every time I hear it.
Honestly,
and you're wrong.
Will, I know what you mean. He does have an annoying voice. He's kind of like this cool guy, but then every time he talks, you're like, you're driving me crazy. But at the same time, I'm with Ryan that this is maybe one of the most quoted movies in our family. Like when I'm summoning my children for dinner, it's "Oh, children."
Let me paint you a picture. I was over at Ollie's house one weekend for dinner, and this movie was on, and it was like I was watching a live stage play of it with
my
him and
God.
his wife reciting every line, and it was maybe the greatest experience of my life.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Oh no.
And I remember distinctly saying out loud, like, "Oh, we should call Will. He's gonna love this."
God. Just me jumping out the window, hopefully to my death.
The thing is, like, Will, the thing is, you love, like I said, you are such an interesting movie person because there are some absolute garbage movies that you love for their
Name 10. I bet you can.
Wraith, Hard Ticket to Hawaii, Streets of Fire.
Just go
10
back
out of
10
10 so
episodes.
far.
Yes. Yeah. But that's what you're so right. I'm like, wow, I didn't think you would have such a visceral reaction to disliking this movie.
Yeah.
Usually that's my job.
Yeah, it's a twister level, like, of, oh my God, like we inflicted pain upon.
Oh, Twister is Lawrence of Arabia next to this like garbage. God. Just
Oh,
I would have much rather at least like Bill Paxton is in, like Twister.
Yeah, but Bam Bam Bigelow is in Major Payne. Come on, man.
Bigelow.
WWF superstar Bam Bam Bigelow. He used to do the cartwheels in the video game.
And Karen Parsons, the
Oh my
the hot
God.
sister from
Can we?
Fresh Prince, and she's
I mean,
incredible in this movie.
just an absolute smoke show.
Yeah,
Mhm.
and that's
And I like the chemistry that they have together. It's like it's adorable.
I like the. Wait, hang on a sec, Will. Just really quickly, you didn't laugh during the little engine that could, chicka 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 chicka, doot doot. when he's like, there are so many movies, like he does the
And
run,
he does the legs.
yeah, the little stomach legs. I ain't got no legs. Will,
It's
none of
great.
this,
Yeah.
none of this.
I think I was so checked out, and I was just like, how much time do we got left? Like we talked about how, like, I don't know, Ready Player One, I shot that movie off as quick as I could. This was faster. The directed by credit hadn't even fully formed on the screen yet, and I just hit stop on like my iPad like as fast as I broke the iPad. This is a new iPad.
Oh, see, that's where you went
Shattered the
wrong. You
screen.
you have to watch this on the biggest screen possible. You can't watch this on a device. You really have to
Yeah.
have a huge screen to capture.
So you missed the post-credit scene as well.
Good. Good.
So
I think for me, it's just that I've never ever liked the Wayans. I do not find them funny at all. Like, I've never thought they were hilarious. I thought like the best thing that ever happened was when Lorne Michaels fired Damon Wayans from SNL. I'm like, good. I wish I could do that in Hollywood, because they are not funny.
See, when I was younger, I always loved like the Zucker brothers, like Your Naked Guns and Airplanes
Yeah.
and stuff like that. So once I hit the next age group, like they were making those type of movies, and that really resonated with my sense of humor. Like, I liked that silliness. Now, going back and watching something like a scary movie, it doesn't really hit the same. They're a little troubling.
yes, it does.
Or maybe I'm thinking of Scary Movie 2.
Scary Movie
Chris
1.
Elliott.
Scary Movie
Yeah.
1 is up there with Zucker Brothers movies to me. I still
Their movies,
I love-
rewatching them now are. I recently rewatched White Chicks, and there are parts in that I absolutely love, but that movie is very problematic now. They look like, to quote Eric Andre, they look like bleached Ninja Turtles. And once I heard that,
Eric Andre knows what's up.
He does.
He knows what's funny. That's
Bleached Ninja Turtles.
Yeah.
Oh, that's
so
a
funny.
I'll never get back. Thank you. Just ruined my entire weekend. Thanks.
But yeah, I mean, I remember watching this movie and enjoying it. And the only thing that, like, rewatching it now that kind of fell apart with me, by the end, I genuinely did not care about whatever this competition was, because it's so
Virginia
absurd.
Military Games, I think.
That's the
is
one,
what you're referencing.
The
Virginia.
the very same.
Yes. Well, look, very quickly, because Will did a terrible job of talking about the plot of this movie.
Oh yeah, that's what we were doing. Right?
Yeah, because we're moving on to D.A.R.Y.L, right?
Is that Major Benson Winifred Payne is getting thrown out of the military, but they find a job for him, and it's to run the ROTC at a big boarding school that looks exactly like the boarding school I went to, but this one is in Virginia, and it's a bunch of just ragtag, different just cliches of a team that he then puts together, tortures them a little bit, makes them a unit, and they go
Hang on, you glazed over. What was that you said? He puts together a what?
He puts together a team. It's Ryan's favorite thing.
Technically, the team is already put together, and he's just placed there to
he
sort them
molds
out.
the team is what
Yes, yeah, in not a violent way at all.
No, he doesn't use firearms on a school property. He definitely doesn't use explosives in any way. Torture these children. Do they ever?
That's why kids these days in school are so soft. There's you don't have this like dictator type teaching instructor using live grenades.
Yeah, no live
and calling them
firearms.
maggots and turds. That's
Look, I was like, the best part is like, Will started like going off on the movie on the text thread, and it's immediately Ryan and I
turned my notifications off. I was like, no, I'm out.
Yeah,
I will not allow this.
Communicating via Major Payne GIFs, because we know the movie so well. We're only speaking through quotes from the movie in GIF form.
It's so much so that when you see,
I couldn't even escape on my phone. Just
when you see a still frame and it just says chuckles in the closed captions, you can just hear it in your head.
Look, if you're looking for sympathy, you look in the dictionary between shit and syphilis. I love that line.
It's great.
That's such a great line.
It's a great movie. I love it.
This is a good movie. Also, very famously, the same school where they shot. Next time we're doing Virginia, by the way. It's one of my favorite movies.
You could have picked this movie.
Yeah, I get Toy Soldiers, man. Toy Soldiers. With Sean.
I haven't seen it.
You've not seen Toy Soldiers?
I haven't.
Oh man.
But now I wish I had picked it. Like,
I'm thinking maybe we do a Zoom call and watch Toy Soldiers, because it's fun.
Oh yeah.
It is a banger. It is dark. It is 80s. It is like surprisingly violent. And
I'm down.
it is excellent. It is excellent. And the thing is, going to a boarding school again that looked exactly like that school. Trust me, we loved that movie when we were British boarding school kids going, yeah, if terrorists take
Oh,
over,
if these fucking Terrys came in here.
Oh, it's like a Die Hard scenario. Like,
Yeah.
It's narco terrorists take over a boarding school with the rich and powerful elite's children.
Right.
nice.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm down for that.
what an insane, like, God, I wish we watched that movie, but I do love Major Payne.
I
But
love-
now think about this. If Major Payne had been in that school when the Terrys were there, problem solved.
he gonna
Give me that movie.
he gonna Drax them clowns.
That's right. Don't you forget.
Will has played a ninja move. I don't know if you guys have noticed that we've hardly been able to talk about Major Payne because we've been talking about other movies.
Son of a you
Good.
clever
Let's keep
bastard.
it going. What other movies can we talk about?
I'm going to sort of argue, and I'm on Team Ryan on this one, is that Major Payne is a good movie. It is a funny movie. Kids like this movie. My kids like this movie. Just not even a little bit of you found just any joy, Will? Nothing?
No,
Not one single part.
every moment I had to look at that stupid Wayans face. I was like, oh god.
I swear to God. Amazing. So, like, for me, I think that this movie cracks me up. I think that, you know, watching it even now, it's like, it was interesting. I was sort of reading up is that, so Damon Wayans he went to sort of a very specific kind of school to learn about how to be a drill instructor. A lot of drill instructors say that of everything and anything in the military, the closest thing of a drill instructor is much like an improv comedian, because you have to, on the fly, you have to just pivot, and you're constantly berating, you've got to come up with ridiculous things and insults and stuff like that. And that even the drill instructors were like going, funny enough, Damon Wayans was actually quite good at it because he's pretty good at thinking on his head. But then they even go so far as to, he spends so many weeks doing it, he does little things, because I will say he looks good in uniform.
Yeah, his movements and everything.
That's what they were saying. They say he was doing all these ticks, these movements, like fixing his hat and stuff like that, that just because he'd been doing it for so long. So drill instructors quite like Major Payne.
So what you're positing is, much like the police force and military use that gunfight scene in Heat,
right,
to reference weapons training.
Yeah.
The military is using Major Payne to train their drill sergeants.
Exactly. So they I believe that they referenced Major Payne before making Full Metal Jacket.
Yes.
They used to tie
Obviously. Yeah.
that is
better for it. Yeah.
It's Full Metal Jacket or Major Payne. Those are the two things that, you know, first day of military, they go, this is what it's going to be like. That's what they do.
I love, because he's basically kicked out of the military for the most part, and then he has to, like, there's this Apocalypse Now style montage at the beginning where he's in his apartment and was it a lizard that he hisses at a cat and it runs away, and he's just cooking an animal like in this thing, and it's been like 2 days.
He spends 2 weeks living a civilian puke existence. I was like, Will, we're doing an Apocalypse Now gag. Come on,
great.
Apocalypse Now gag. You gotta be like, he's punchy and he's all drunk. It's amazing. My other favorite part is when he takes part in the police training.
Yes, I was just gonna say that's great.
Ma'am, nice to meet you, sir. Like,
yeah.
Here's this scenario, and he just don't ever start, and just starts slapping the guy in the face.
Yeah.
Oh, well.
I think he's a positive role model for these kids.
So
at the end of the day,
but
I think they changed him. What was the little kid's name? Tiger. Yeah, I think he awakened something inside of him, a fatherly figure, so to speak.
Yeah, we get the none too subtle moment where he just pictures the white picket fence.
Oh my God! And
and
it's got Charlie coming out.
Okay.
Jesus Christ! He straight up murders and drowns this guy in front of them, and then they're just like laughing about it. I fucking love that. I love that. I will say in that scene, it's towards the end of the movie. There's a lot of trains that go by. First of all, he's sitting at a train stop because he got a new assignment, and he's sitting on this bench looking across there. That house is like 20 feet away from these train tracks. That would be a horrible place to live.
Way too close to trains.
But it doesn't matter. Because then he just kind of pictures this fantasy in his mind's eye of this happy life. And he's just grilling and drinking lemonade. And then Charlie comes out with the most rubber AK-47.
You see
Yeah.
on the end of wobbling, don't you?
Yeah.
But you're right. It's like,
Doesn't matter.
He's at
Into
a
it.
Virginia train station, and there's more trains going by than you get at Grand Central.
Yeah. There's like several trains, yeah. And you can hear them all going chugga 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 chugga. Toot toot. No,
Like,
nothing.
for me, Will, the
Will has,
scream.
if you're listening at home, Will has turned his camera off and has left the chat.
I've gone away. I've moved as far away from Virginia as I possibly can.
But seriously, there was nothing. The moment when he's telling the story and he suddenly just screams, like the scream, he's like,
And the gunshots you hear.
and the gunshots is like, you ain't gonna take Major Payne Payne alive. Bam! Nothing, Will.
Here's my what I have to say. If David Wayans is saying something, I'm not laughing. That is how unfunny I find that dude. Like, I hate his line deliveries. I hate his comedic timing. I don't like anything about him. The idea that like drill instructors are like, yeah, this is what he's like. I'm like, oh, like the most unlikable people in the military. He nailed it. Shocker. Like, just nothing about this dude's performance. I kept thinking in the movie who I would rather see in this film.
Arlie Ermy.
R. Lee Ermey would be better. I was even thinking like if they just went totally like a Hulk Hogan. I was like, that I would like way better. I don't care that he's accurate to like drill instructors because it is not that kind of movie.
You could almost make the exact same movie with a different lead, but I don't think it would. At least I wouldn't feel the same way. I wouldn't be as memorable to me. Though for me, like the character, the voice, his cadence is the whole thing.
It was initially the role was offered to Martin Lawrence, but he couldn't do it because he was making a small independent film called Bad Boys. So we could have had the Martin Lawrence version, but I think no, Damon Wayans.
He's got the presence though. Like there's something about it.
You're just wrong. I mean, and I appreciate you. It's a good thing we got to remember the Titans because we're going to fix racism. But like, Major Payne is a funny movie. Major Payne is a reliable funny movie. We can put it on a Sunday. People are just giggling. We sit there. We have fun. So we won't. I'll tell you what. We'll move away from talking about Damon Wayans. I want to talk about like there's this kid in this movie. He plays like the lead like boy. I think what's his name?
Yeah, who is that kid?
Steve Martini. I was joking about he was like the kid version of Scott Bakula, right? He did basically this movie. He is a great little actor, that guy. He's good. He looks good on camera.
He somehow looks very young and very old.
At the same time, yeah, he's
Weird.
a 5-year-old, 17-year-old.
Yeah, he's got these features. Yeah.
It's
like a young Adam Driver. Or an old Adam Driver. I don't know.
Yeah, he plays Alex Stone, the rebellious teenager who doesn't like authority. He did, very few things, honestly. Like, he did move to LA. He something with his brothers, but just never really sort of got into it kind of thing. But like, I think when I watch this movie, he is the one that sort of like every time he's in a scene, I can't stop watching that kid. I think
the only other person I remember is the ginger kid who then appears later on in She's All That, who has to eat the pubes on the pizza. Is that correct? Okay.
Yeah.
What a stellar
that
career.
ginger kid who looks like the ginger kid from A Christmas Story. I thought for a long time they were the same person.
Wow.
Until I realized, like, wait a minute, those are like 20 years apart. That kid, it's not the same guy.
Yeah, that is that kid. Isn't he? Didn't he also turn up in American Pie? Was he?
Probably, yeah.
Yeah, he was like in a lot of those like early.
The
2000s.
Shermanator. He was the.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
Good for him. What a career.
I think you're right. Yeah. He's one of those kids. I used to see him in everything. I think I still see. He was in something recently.
Chris Owen, Major Payne, October Sky, which is a movie that's definitely coming. By the way, I love that movie. He's had a. You say that, but he's like, he's been
in shit.
The last movie he was in was the last Sharknado. It's About Time. Which, by the way, when I said that, is not the last Sharknado called It's About Time. The actual name of the movie is The Last Sharknado, period, comma, It's About Time. So just FYI. But he was in, a bunch of movies. He's in Hidalgo. He's in all the American Pies.
Famously for being the Shermanator.
Famous for being the Shermanator and for eating the pubes, like you said. But
correct. And he was the horse in Hidalgo.
I was going to say the same thing.
He's also the kid, the most like when they shave all the kids' heads. That
Ooh,
kid was
yeah.
just like, oh man.
And it
Unfortunate.
looks like they really shaved all their heads for
Oh,
this
they
movie.
did. Yeah, no, it was all
They had
CGI.
Yeah.
It was
But to be on board for that, I'm like, that's cool. They were like, yeah,
it's
let's
the
do it.
same technology they did to remove Henry Cavill's mustache in.
Right.
Yeah. Got the same team on board. We did it for the kids in Major Payne. We could do it for Henry Cavill's lips.
Weta digital getting is on speed dial.
So
Which I want to go on record and say that they made a mistake. Mustache Superman is a much better idea.
Yeah.
Like, just that would have been awesome. So
The story
Yeah.
behind that is so good.
But it's also
Yeah.
just like, because it's established in canon, right, that Superman shaves by using his laser vision to cut the hairs on his face, because if you try to use a razor, it's not going
Is that
to
true?
Yeah,
it's
how
his hair is too strong.
So he does it in the mirror. He lasers off. How he gets down here on the bottom of his neck or back here? I mean, like, he must have two mirrors.
2 mirrors, yeah, obviously.
I think it's like there's no way he'd be able to get back.
Kind of like the bat symbol in Batman Returns. He's just got this like insanely Rube Goldberg machine where he's bouncing lasers off one another. But if you miss, you're fucked.
Call.
Like you just laser a building in half.
Bruce definitely built him, some Batman style mirror contraption too. How are we doing this again, Will? You keep making us not talk about this movie.
Anything I can do.
Like I said earlier, I absolutely adore the chemistry he and her have in this movie. Their scenes together are great. She's the only person that can like disarm him, and it's the only side of the only sensitive side you see of him when after he's done telling the story to Tiger, and she's like, "Do you want to go have dinner?" He's like, "Yes." It's he's like a little boy, you know.
He's like, Yeah, he just like, "Do you want to be my little helper?" Yes.
Yeah,
it's quite funny because like I like the bit where just he turns up at the school and like Tiger runs into him and just the way he picks him up.
Yeah,
it's
great.
Scruff of his thing. But like, I like the scene where they go on the date as well. And
oh my god,
like when he's doing all his dance bits, which is funny. But I like how you then get the callback from Tiger when he's doing the
dance.
Doing the thing at the end, and he starts doing the Michael Jackson thing. Like that kid Tiger, he's good too.
And that's for me. That's kind of where I was like, I'm okay with not watching this part of this movie. I was just like, I didn't care about the competition that much, and why there was like jousting, and why the one kid left their group to go to another group at the same, like, did he go to a different school, like the one the kiss ass?
No, yeah, the kid
right?
that is like he is the most lesbian boy ever.
Yeah, I think
that's my title. I'll let him.
I think he's one of the kids in Hackers, right? I think that's the only other thing I've seen him in. Right?
He's got his voice though does sound like an old woman.
Yeah, very raspy. Yeah,
he's got such an interesting voice. But yeah, he transfers because he goes to the rival school. So it basically gets to that point that they're sick and tired of him, and they try to frame him for being a pedophile by dressing one of the kids up in a dress.
Which is
insane. Insane.
But when he like looks over and flutters his eyes, he's like, it fucking kills me.
Hey,
I love that. They both scream.
When the kid turns up in the dress and he's changed the dresses, and he's like, "What are you doing?" He goes, "Well, this one's prettier." And like,
yeah. Right. I feel you're missing the point here.
They hire Bam Bam Bigelow to beat him up, which then means that someone has to answer for the blood on his lip. And then
that's great. Every line of this movie is quotable.
Bro. Like seriously, Will, we could quote this entire movie.
Will, who looks as angry as Bam Bam Bigelow in this movie.
I wish I was knocked out so I didn't have to finish that movie.
But like so then Major Payne sort of throws the challenge to Alex Stone, great name. And he's like, all right, if you can get the Virginia Military Games trophy, fine, I'll leave. So sets them up on a black op. I do like when they're all doing their stuff, and then you've got Tiger who's like drawing stuff on his face.
Yeah,
he's got like a little trees. And
he was great. He was very good.
That little kid is somebody too, right? Like
Orlando Brown is the kid.
I really only remember him from this, but I'm sure there's some other.
He starts off in Major Payne. He's still doing movies. He was Detective Brown, 2022, Bloody Hands. He was in 2015, Straight Outta Compton. Oh wow. Okay, cool.
He will
Well, maybe
always
that's where
be
I've seen
this little boy to me,
Yeah,
though. Like,
to
he'll
me.
always be Tiger.
He's done a lot of television as well. He was in Coach, In the House, The Parenthood, Jamie Foxx Show, Moesha, Sister,
Okay.
Wayans
Yeah.
Brothers, Family Matters, Two of a Kind.
I can see that.
And in 2023, a TV show called Bad Boys Texas. Fascinating. But yeah, to me, he's also
He'll
he's
always be
just this
Tiger.
teeny tiny little kid who is just adorable in his little uniform and everything else. It's cute. And then, Will, you're not won over by the fact that he becomes like he's teaching a school, but it's like a place where you can feel understood and cherished, and you know he's still bad, but he's grown. His character grows. He adopts Tiger. He marries the sister from Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. He grows, man. Happy ending.
Yeah.
Credits roll.
Oh, that was my favorite part when the credits started. Loved it. That was 10 out of 10 parts.
I do love the post-credit scene in this, and I am actually wondering if they shaved that dog, or it's just a different dog.
Oh, I wonder. Yeah, that's right. Where I do like that we man. Yeah, blind CNI dog. Why would you do one with a blind dog?
God, that was great. He's just dumb enough, but not really dumb.
He's
I guess
he's that thing about like another movie talks about it, but like military training takes basically dumb people, and you just I think it's from Jack Reacher actually, and it's just you just program people by just doing repetition, and you can teach them a lot of stuff, but you don't necessarily have to be a genius to do it. But yeah, he's got like he says those things that just don't make any sense. I mean, I remember on the text thread that Ryan was watching the movie and he goes, okay, wait a minute. Major Payne's about to eat like cupcake and I'm gonna fucking die.
Yep.
It's just the
sound, the Foley art in this of him, and again, I watch everything with subtitles because I can't really see anymore. But it just said gurgling.
Yeah.
And you just, oh my God.
You get that sound of like a drop of water, but like in an empty cave.
Yeah. Oh God. And then he just farts on that kid and he falls over. And that's funny. Farts are funny. I'm sorry. Man. Farts are funny. Maybe people think it's the lowest form, like lowest common denominator of comedy. I disagree. It's the highest form.
I think farts are a gas. See, there you go. Fart jokes. This is what we're doing. Will.
The farts isn't a problem anymore.
Okay, Will, I'm backing you into the corner. Say one good thing about Major Payne.
You can't say that it ended. You can't say that it ended.
Okay. It is roughly 90 minutes. Great. Fantastic.
It is 95 minutes long. It made $30 million. This movie was a hit. I love this movie. We rented it as kids. We saw the trailer and we're like, I want to see that movie. That movie's going to be hilarious. And guess what? It was. It changed my childhood. It changed Ryan's childhood. And it made Will want to die.
Yeah, made my life worse.
What an eye opener! I'm so shocked that how much you dislike this movie.
Yeah, it's between this and Twisted. Like I say, Will, you've got incredible taste in movies.
Yeah.
And then you love some absolute garbage. But there are some bangers, just like innocent movies that you're like, no, that's.
I think too, like much like gosh, I forgot what the other movie was. You know, I think if you had seen this movie like maybe had seen it way back when, I think you'd have a different appreciation for it. But watching it now,
I don't know. I've never found the Wayans funny, so they've always been like anti-comedy to me. So I don't know if even in Living Color, every time like they came on to do sketches, I was like, oh God. Like I just never ever thought
you're the guy that loved in Living Color, but only anytime Jim Carrey was on.
Yeah, when the funny guy came on. Yeah, that's when I liked it. That's only time I ever like.
What's the one?
His whole Homie the Clown thing. I was like, God, just end this. I hate this.
Yeah,
just
you still
never liked it.
I guess that's why Damon Wayans didn't agree to come on this episode.
God,
I would have ruined it.
Joining us,
I would have been like, I would have laid into him. I'd be like, remember when you got to do Lethal Weapon, the easiest home run of a TV show you could possibly ever have, and you messed it up. Yeah.
He didn't.
Wasn't it the other guy that?
Yeah, the other guy got crazy and almost killed Damon Wayans with an explosion. That's why that shit.
Understandable. I totally get it.
Oh my God. And we'll audition for that part.
Okay, I'll tell you what.
If I were a good actor on a show next to that guy, I would also be angry all the time.
Ooh, okay,
Thoughts
okay.
on Damon Wayans Jr. from New Girl?
Oh.
Is that who that is?
Yeah.
Wait. No, who is
Damon Wayans Jr. Yeah.
oh. Whatever. I like Coach better. Coach is
That
way
is
better.
Coach. Yeah, he plays Coach.
No, that's not Coach, is it? Or is it the other guy? The guy who was
Yeah,
like
you're
the
thinking
pilot.
of Lamorne Morris, the pilot.
Okay.
Lemon.
Yeah, no, that's Coach. That's Damon Wayans Jr.
Is that?
Yeah.
No.
He's in Let's Be Cops.
I didn't watch
with
New
Jake
Girl,
Johnson.
so I've seen like 3 episodes. So
I only
There-
ever saw the Prince episode. It was very funny.
Yeah.
There is another Wayans in this movie, actually. Did you know that? So there's the deaf kid, which has
Yep.
more quotable lines as well. But there's the other kid, the other black kid, the one that's like going, like bonding with him. He's like, oh yeah. He's
Oh
like,
yeah.
messing up these white boys. That's his nephew.
Oh,
That's
okay.
another Wayans as well.
There's so many of them.
no memory of this kid in this movie. I don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah, I was gonna say I feel like he's not the one that, because wasn't that the deaf kid who like
The
does
deaf kid is
when
really
he throws
good
the gun and he like
Spinning
catches
the
right?
rifle. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay,
oh.
I'll tell you what. Look, I want to talk about this movie more, but I want Will to be able to say something positive about something. So.
Yeah. We're still waiting for it. The audience is waiting with bated breath.
Okay, here we go. Here's one actually like funny thing where I was like, oh, maybe I will like this movie. And it was at the very beginning where the guy's like holding up his hand and then he just breaks the guy's finger.
Yeah.
For like, no, I'm like, oh, okay, maybe I will like this. But then he started talking and it was all downhill.
We use that on we use that. I mean, you want me to show you a little trick, take your mind off that pain?
But I love when it comes back later. He almost does it. You're like, oh my God, is he going to break this kid's finger?
Yeah, that part of the movie actually, that gave me a glimmer of hope at the beginning. I was like, oh, because that's like my sense of humor, is just be like, here's how I'll fix the situation. I'll make it worse. Like
Wayans brothers
that was funny.
aside, do you think you would have enjoyed this movie had it not been for the voice? Like if you played it a little more straight?
Just a different actor, I would have enjoyed
If Martin
it more.
Lawrence had made this movie, do you think you would have liked it?
I think I would have liked it better. I don't know if I would have loved it, because I think he's kind of miscast. Like, I think Martin Lawrence isn't quite the right guy for this.
What about a Brian Bosworth?
Perfect movie. Perfect 10 out of 10 movie.
But you could almost see this with like a Schwarzenegger, like in a Kindergarten Cop type of way. I felt like this movie needed somebody who was like a big, muscly, dumb guy for this like role. Somebody who was like an action hero. Yeah, like a Hulk Hogan. I get it.
Yeah, like someone like that to really make it work.
Hear me out though. Hulk Hogan, same voice.
Hold on, you might be winning me over. Just to see him.
I'm talking gold tooth, everything. Yeah,
the Hulkinator.
yeah.
I mean, wow. No, who was the guy from No Holds Barred who wasn't Hulk Hogan? The guy who played Zeus.
Oh, Tiny
Lister.
Yeah.
Yes. Him in this role? Yes.
Yeah, but he's not like a leading. I can't see him as a leading man. But I hear you.
Michael Clark Duncan.
Ooh,
perfect.
Mile.
Yeah.
Kevin
Hart.
That's what they would have made today.
Because he's just
either the Kevin Hart or The Rock, straight to VOD, $1 billion.
Yeah, the most watched movie on earth according to Netflix. Trust us. Don't look at our numbers. But
we don't release metrics.
We don't even have numbers.
Yeah,
guys,
but we know.
Can I do a quick aside as just movie fans? I watched Rebel Moon, the Zack Snyder, hoping his Star Wars. Have you guys seen it?
No.
It is, guys, watch it. But I'm annoyed because I actually think Zack Snyder can make good movies when he's adapting other people's stuff. But this one, it's so, all right, I'm going to take this from Lord of the Rings and take this from Star Wars, and we take this from every major thing. It's just the level of, they say good artists borrow, great artists steal. This is just... I was enjoying it at the beginning. By the end, I mean, I think I was texting the other group thread as well. Just like, guys, this is just, oh no, oh, this is the bad movie. This is bad, and Netflix is going to sink $1 billion into this
Oh
franchise.
yeah. And there's a part 2 coming, right?
Of course, because this is Rebel Moon, this, that, and the other part 1. And he's like,
Jeez.
he wants to make like 6 of these movies, and I'm like,
If you loved Sucker Punch, you're gonna love Rebel Moon Part 2.
that's the thing.
Part 2.
It got like the premise of it's like setting up almost like a Magnificent Seven kind of thing, but it took 2.5 hours to get to the halfway point of that story.
Ugh.
And I'm just like,
and that's got Charlie Hunnam in it, right?
Yeah, Hunnam's in it.
Like,
It's got Ed Screen. It's like, it's, you know, they go, hey, you know how like the Empire are the Nazis? Well, why don't we just make our empire the actual Nazis that dress like Nazis and act like Nazis? Okay, we'll do it. Right, no, put that in. Great.
$1 billion.
Freaking lightsaber.
Meanwhile, there's a new Rennie Harlan movie called The Bricklayer, starring Aaron Eckhart, that I've heard is a very good 3-star movie that does nothing new, but is perfectly watchable.
I still want to see the Beekeeper.
The Beekeeper.
Bricklayer.
Yes. We almost all have to go together to see
Yeah,
this.
yeah, I think.
Agreed.
God.
Okay, yeah. So, but yes, guys, Rebel Moon. I think I want Will to watch it just so I can sit there and listen to Will take it to pieces. I mean, it would be honestly a pleasure to listen to that.
Yeah, we'd have to do that. Like, we'd have to do all that. I'm not going to willingly.
What state does
watch
it
that
take place in?
The state of mind, because it takes place in space. But like, oh my god! I tell you, it had potential.
Did Sutter Kane write that fucking movie?
This is the book that he wrote that drove everyone crazy.
That tracks.
I would feel bad tearing that one apart because I'm not a Zack Snyder like movie fan. Like his movies don't really do it for me. But he seems like a great dude. Like everything I've heard about him, like actors love working with him, crews love working with him. He seems like a nice guy. I'm endeared to people who have been through like some really serious personal tragedy.
Yeah. That's what I'm
so I have a lot of sympathy for the guy.
I wanted to like it.
Yeah.
And I went and
I will say, much like oh my god, who did Ambulance?
Michael Bay.
Oh, Michael Bay.
Yeah, much like that was kind of like a toned down version of like a Michael Bay style movie. I'd love to see like a kind of smaller scale Zack Snyder movie.
Yeah.
Pain and Gain.
Like, yeah, exactly. Yeah, something that's not like just fucking shooting hubris everywhere, you know?
Yeah. But we're not going to get that from Zack Snyder because his favorite movie is Excalibur, which is, if you watch that movie, you're like, that is exactly a Zack Snyder movie made like 20 years before you made movies.
That movie does kind of rule, though.
It looks great. It looks great. Awesome soundtrack.
I prefer the the animated version.
It's only slightly less blood,
but way more horny.
Yeah. Well, look, okay. Just for those of you at home who haven't seen Major Payne, it is a good movie. Will is dead on the inside, but also valid. Yeah. Will, valid, fine.
We're gonna have to take a poll and see. I'd love to see everyone's comments and what they think of how wrong Will is.
Bring it on. I'll be the Hollywood Hulk Hogan in this.
I'm nourished by your hatred.
Yeah. I will tell you.
Turd heel.
We were talking about on the thread is we did have a message on our Reddit of someone that was like, "You're always talking about the Wraith." I finally watched it and it's amazing. And that honestly, we've changed one person's life. This podcast has succeeded, guys.
Yeah,
we have succeeded as a podcast.
Yeah.
As long as we bring Wraith to the masses, I think that's our job.
I mean, it's the least we can do. Honestly. No, seriously, it's like the bare minimum.
So, all right, look, I'm going to stop torturing Will. We're going to move on to does exactly what it says on the tin.
All right, there's 2 more movies. Sure. I gotta get the hell out of here.
Let's segue over. Let's talk about Remember the Titans. Now, this is a movie that came the year 2000. All of our computers hadn't died during Y2K. We're coming after the 90s where we fixed war, racism, homophobia, everything has fixed. And they make this movie, and this movie made a shit ton of money. It was over $100 million because it was just a fun day at the movies. And it's like Ryan texted, he's like, Denzel Washington literally putting a team together. It's ultimate. And it's a true story as well. Yeah. So, Will, I'm going to start with you. How do you feel about Remember the Titans?
Just forgot about it. I enjoy this movie. Like I think Also, had I not seen it so close to Friday Night Lights, I might like it a little bit more. But since we had just so recently watched that movie, I couldn't help but compare the two. And I was just like, Friday Night Lights is so good.
Yeah.
But I do enjoy this movie. There's a lot of great acting in it. Really well shot. It's weird to go back and see the actor who played Avon Barksdale play like a good guy.
Wood Harris.
Yeah.
Wood Harris
is
playing
great.
Julius.
Yeah.
He's fantastic. He
Famously
should
from
honestly,
Dread.
Yeah. He should honestly play
good,
more good guys because I love that dude.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's great. He's so intense. you
Yeah,
know?
he can be
But
friendly as he can be scary.
but as far as sports movies goes, this has to be the most like by the numbers, formulaic, like tick, 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 tick things. And that's not to say it's bad in any way, but it is like, oh, this is guy. I wonder if they're gonna do that. Oh, okay. Now there's the training montage. Now, oh wait, they're gonna be like, again, it does nothing new, but it does everything very well.
Yeah, that's exactly what I was about to say.
Like, it has a lot of heart. Like you really you connect with these people.
It does. It definitely sits there and just plucks at your heartstrings and makes you feel things. It makes you want them to succeed. You're having a good time. And there's conflict and they're getting over it. And it's kind of like, Will, I get what you're saying, because with Friday Night Lights, it's like, I think the best part about that movie is at the end they lose.
Yeah, that's the classic dodgeball ending.
Yeah, it's just, they go through all this struggle, and in the end they get one and oh no, you're done, you lost, go home.
Dude, well, just to point out, that's anytime I watch any sort of sports competition or big thing in a movie, even in Major Payne, I was like, everything needs to do that classic dodgeball ending where they lose, cuts to credits.
Yeah,
it's so fucking funny.
Makes everything so much funnier.
It does.
Well, you know what's interesting is, so Remember the Titans, much like Friday Night Lights, is based off a true story of an actual season of football, and it's even referenced in the movie at the end when Hayden Panettiere's voiceover comes on. But actually, the ending of the movie and the ending of that season in reality is they go to state and lose. So they had a perfect season, but when they actually go to the final game, the biggest game of them all, they lost. So that's why it's not talked about in the movie. They go, perfect, unfortunately they didn't win this, but perfect season, It's like,
big old fucking asterisk on the end of that one. Yeah. And can we talk for a second? Hayden Panettiere in this movie was insufferable. I could not stand her character at all. It was just trying too hard, and I felt very forced and annoying in a way that only she could capture in this film.
Interesting. The true story of it is that Will Patton's character, Yost, is it Coach Yost? He had 4 daughters. And
they picked the worst one.
They all lived. They all lived mostly with mum, but there was one daughter who Hayden Panettiere portrays that was more into the sports, not quite so much as the movie portrays, but she was very much a dad's girl. Right. And then unfortunately she died quite young. She died at the age of 34. And so the sisters, everyone was like, no, that's why she's kind of like the amalgamation of all the sisters put into one. But
I stand by what I said.
I love the bit where, because she's so outdoorsy and plays basketball.
Yeah, that was great.
Brings his daughter over. And she throws the ball, and the way the daughter just goes, "What?" I just got nailed.
Yeah. I love the dichotomy of those two characters. That was great.
Yeah, it reminded me a lot of like George Michael on Arrested Development, where they throw him the basketball.
No, yeah,
tucks away.
That's true.
So this movie, like the guys have absolutely boiled it down perfectly. There's nothing new. But it works.
Yeah,
it bloody works. It turns up. It's Virginia. When is this set? It's kind of like in the 60s, right? It's around that sort of time. 71. And so they're at T.C. Williams High School in Virginia. It's playing out at the time of integration in Virginia, and these high schools have been forced together. So you've got all the black kids, all the white kids, and you've got this sort of kind of drama, and then the extra sort of like that thing that definitely upsets the white people is that you've got Coach Yost. Will Patton has been the head coach for a number of times, but they bring in Coach Boone, who's got a great record, but he has become head coach, essentially demoting what was the head coach of the high school in the eyes of many people.
Yeah.
And it's that kind of, it causes that sort of friction. And so what I like is that they go off on their football camp. First thing that Denzel does is he makes them, He pulls them off and makes them all sit and pair up. And so again, apparently, get into the history of it. That's
true, right?
what he
Yeah.
did. That's what the coach did. But it's I just like how they do address it. As in they're addressing civil rights, they're addressing integration, but they do it in a Disney way with really great songs.
Yeah, and it's almost crazy to think of Denzel in this movie because he's pretty much playing the same character he usually does, but it's so fucking good that it doesn't matter.
It's
Like
Denzel, yeah.
he's basically equalizing them, is what it's like.
Yeah. No,
But he's got this like brash intensity, and I don't know, maybe that's what the coach was actually like. But when the superstar all-American white dude rolls up on him and starts trying to press his buttons, so to speak, he just leans into him, and that whole scene was fucking great. And he's like, "Stop being a pussy, get on the fucking bus."
Yeah.
Yeah, he almost turns into his character from Training Day for a
Exactly.
second.
That's exactly
We were
what I'm
just
saying.
like,
Yeah.
oh god,
right.
he's
Yeah.
gonna pull out a gun
Yeah.
on this
Ain't
kid.
got shit on me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm out. Yeah.
He got on the bus, he got everyone to smoke some PCP, and then they got out.
That's why they were so good. But my all-time favorite thing is, again, guys, remember, Ryan Gosling is in this movie.
Ryan Gosling,
And they use him so well
great.
that anytime you need just an insane reaction shot, they would just cut to him and he would just have the most goofball fucking look on his face. And I love every bit of it.
My
Yeah.
favorite little Ryan Gosling bit. So they cast Ryan Gosling as like a country music like loving sort of white boy, and so when they're forced to sort of pair up, and like he's there making friends with his new roommate, and he's like he's dancing all kinds.
Oh my
Right
God.
now, this bit, oh, so good.
Yeah. Future Ken, baby.
Dude,
Yeah.
we just watched Barbie again the other day because 2 days ago I woke up with I'm Just Ken stuck in my head all day. I'm just singing the song all day. It's gonna be my new karaoke banger. But like Ryan Gosling in that movie, I'm so angry to say it that the Barbie movie, a fantastic movie about feminism and the patriarchy and everything, and the best part about the movie for me is
The
Ryan.
man.
I mean, hey, you can't deny the truth, baby.
Bloody patriarchy! God damn it!
Suck it,
Not
Greta
gonna lie.
Gerwig.
Not gonna lie. When there was like patriarchy Ken land in that movie, we could all, this is a safe space here. It's kind of awesome, wasn't it, guys? It
Oh my
kind of.
God. Will reporting from his Mojo Dojo Casa.
The
house.
Mojo Dojo Casa house is incredible.
Yeah.
That
That place fucking
I was
ruled.
into it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The Barbie movie is so good. It's so.
It's a fantastic movie that I absolutely hated.
You didn't like Barbie?
I just didn't.
Oh
it didn't
my
resonate with me.
God.
Yeah.
Oh,
I
you.
appreciate it for
You
what
hate
it did.
Feminism, we understand.
It's the Major
Oh
Payne.
my God, I'm the problem.
I did
All right, I
Barbie
go back. I like
this
it.
week actually. I watched Oppenheimer, watched Barbie, and they're both fantastic movies. And that's just the way it is. That's the way it's going to be. But back to Remember the Titans. It's like every time I think of Remember Titans, I remember watching it the first time, people just enjoying it. But it's like it's got Marvin Gaye, James Taylor, The Temptations,
Yeah, it's got a
Cat
great
Stevens,
soundtrack.
Creedence Clearwater Revival, Bob Dylan. You know, it's got such a great soundtrack for that moment and for that time, and it's used very well. That it's just like, you know, I don't understand. Like Ryan, you were the one that said it. Is like it's got all the pieces. It doesn't do anything new, but everything that it does well.
Yeah, it just works. Yeah, it's almost like a template, but I don't know what it like. You know, it didn't subvert my expectations. I knew exactly what was going to happen, and I'd never seen this movie. This was my first time watching it.
What?
Yeah. I probably should have said that earlier. But again, because it was like, oh, I know where this is going to go. It's I've never seen this movie, but I've seen this movie before.
You knew
know?
exactly what you were getting.
Yeah, but it's got Denzel in it, and I'm like, and Baby Goose, I'm in, baby.
It's directed by Boaz Yakin. He's Israeli American. This, I think, was one of the only movies he directed. But he did, interesting enough, he wrote 1989's Punisher. The
Dolph
The
Lundgren.
Dolph Lundgren one?
Fuck yeah.
he wrote The Rookie as well, Charlie Sheen and Clint Eastwood. He wrote Prince of Persia. And the interesting thing is that right before they started shooting, because it's a Jerry Bruckheimer production, is that he didn't understand football. He doesn't know football at all. So he had to go to kind of like football camp
He went to the camp, yeah.
before making the movie.
He watched one game, he's like, I got it.
I understand. Lots
This
of
sport
penalties,
isn't
the
as
game is slowed
complex as
down.
you're making it. Yeah, the sport isn't as complex as you're making it out to be.
Just throw the ball over there. Okay, all right, got it. Done. Kip Pardue. So Kip Pardue turns up halfway through as Sunshine.
Fantastic.
Remember when Kip Pardue was a thing?
Yeah, I remember I almost picked the Rules of Attraction.
Yes,
right?
Rules of
And
Attraction.
maybe the best part of that whole movie is his little glitterama montage.
You know, interesting. So he does that. Yeah, he does that. I was bouncing around Europe, like short 5-minute thing. So I remember getting into that movie is that there is actually, and it's been screened a couple of times. They shot a feature length. Thing
it was supposed to be like a sequel, right? Like
of him bouncing around Europe. It's been made. It was made while they made the movie. So while they would, it's crazy how the levels they went to. They made kind of like this sort of grungy, sort of like single camera documentary style movie.
I think it's called Glitterati or Glamorama. I think there was 2 of them. I don't know, but I remember
you
like
guys could be totally lying about this right now.
No,
like,
I mean because I love that movie.
This sounds like
so
a fake
much.
thing.
No. This is for real.
No, seriously.
Look it up. It's like because Kip Pardue, for a few years they were like, is this guy? I always find he's got weird. What is it? The line from Deadpool, but he's got weird secret sex lips. It's like Kip Pardue's got just these weird lips. But like, because he was in the Sylvester Stallone not Formula One movie Driven.
Right. Yeah. He was the other guy.
Yeah. See, like, Will's like, are we blowing Will's mind with facts about Kip Pardue right now?
We're just waiting for Kip Pardue to pop.
Is it kind of like, because I barely remember this dude from like anything. Like I've seen his face. I've definitely seen him in stuff, but I don't remember Hollywood trying to make him like a big deal or something. Is it kind of like the guy from Battleship? What's his name? The lead guy.
Yeah. Taylor.
Kind of like that, where it's like he's a good actor. He's like really good in things.
Yeah.
But just
like
Hollywood tried to make him a thing. The guy was in John Carter.
Ooh,
I forget the dude's name.
Yeah. What is the
Liam Neeson?
Liam Neeson. Yeah.
Taylor.
I had to look at your shirt to
Taylor
remember.
Kitsch, yes. Yeah, like how Hollywood tried to make him like he's our next big star. I was on board with it. I like Taylor
Me
Kitsch,
too.
but
he's really
completely forgetable. There's no like redeeming, like I don't
he's
know.
great in Waco. He did the miniseries with David Koresh.
Yeah, but you're just saying that because that's where you live.
yeah, you got to root for the home team,
Yeah,
so I get it.
Boo.
So actually, you're right. Glitterati is a movie that he made. Roger Avery.
Yeah, who directed
remains unreleased due to various legal, ethical, and musical licensing concerns. Ethical concerns.
Now I gotta see it.
Yeah, I don't think you can find it anywhere. I don't think it actually exists. Maybe they did screen it, but because I remember like I was obsessed with it, and I would love to see it, and I never have. So
okay, so here you go. This is gonna make Will go down some rabbit hole to find it. Glitterati is an American film directed by Roger Avery. Filmed in 2001, it remains unreleased. It stars Kip Pardue as a shallow, narcissistic, aspiring model as he travels around Europe and becomes implicated in a terrorist plot. The film was assembled from 70 hours of footage shot for the European sequence of The Rules of Attraction.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
They spent 70 hours shooting like a 5-minute scene for The Rules of Attraction.
I mean, I don't even think it's that long. Maybe it is, but it's like a very, very quick montage of just. He's like, oh, I just got back from traveling abroad, and it like cuts to this like rapid fire sequence, which is fucking awesome, by the way.
I remember it being like filming took place over 2 weeks: London, Amsterdam, Paris, Barcelona, Munich, Florence, Venice, Rome. Kip Pardue remained in character for the entire duration. Avery followed him around with a Sony PD-150, and Pardue would interact with members of the public, and then Shapiro would later ask him to sign a release form. Mm-hmm. Wild story.
Sounds fucking awesome.
Not making it up. That is a true story.
I would watch all 70 hours of that.
But yeah, Kip Pardue and his weird sex lips turns up in the movie, and then he gets a haircut and he's kind of sexy.
He's got that same kind of energy as the creepy brother in Nope. Like he just shows up. He's got this like, or like one of the kids from Funny Games, like just that unsettling whiteness. I don't know how to describe it. Like
you think maybe he's a replicant when you see him.
Yeah. It's very alien features.
That
said fantastic in this movie. I loved him.
Yeah. This movie it's like I say, it's my Ron Seal quick drying wood stain. As I've mentioned on the show before, it does exactly what it says on the tin, but it also does it well. Like
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
it's a happy watch for me. It's like even the part that even I find a little ridiculous. So Wood Harris is playing Julius Campbell, real athlete, and then you got Ryan Hurst playing Jerry Bertier, also a real athlete. And so there's that plot twist that happens, which is again true story. Is during the season, Jerry Bertier is in a car wreck and it paralyzes him. And it's just what for me in the movie is I it's emotional and we get there and all this kind of stuff. But for me, he has been paralyzed for maybe 6 hours. And he is in the hospital bed and coach turns up and like Jerry's like, you know what I'm hearing about wheelchairs? They got Olympics. And it's like within 6 hours of becoming paraplegic, he is already
Wink.
he's exactly because true story is he does go on to become a Paralympian and to win medals and stuff like that. But it's the part that every time I watch it, I'm like,
Well, so you were waiting for Denzel to walk into the hospital room and say, "Oh, you want to see a little trick, take your mind off this pain?"
Denzel is who should have played.
Oh
Major Payne.
my
There we go.
God,
Denzel's
guys!
Major Payne.
Hell yeah.
Oh my
That's the
God.
shirt. That's the shirt.
You've got to recast Major Payne. You've got to have Jerry Bertier and like as his sidekick as well. Yeah, you've got to design that.
But only if you get Damon Wayans back as Tiger.
Major Payne 2. More pain.
Sure, yeah.
I love that. So Ryan, you were saying you'd never seen this movie before. Tell me
No, I hadn't.
more about your understanding reaction, the way it made you feel.
This was one of those I just kind of threw it on, and like some of these movies, you know, I'll put on and immediately jump on the text thread to like tell you how I'm feeling about it or what my thoughts are if I either really love it or really dislike it. Either way, and this one I just kind of like I just put my phone down and just wanted to sit and enjoy this movie because I had never seen it. And yeah, I mean it's a really good heartfelt movie. I love all of the dynamics, but like I said, it really doesn't, you know, it doesn't do anything new, but what it does very well. And I thoroughly enjoyed it. But it's a movie I'm like, all right, I don't really need to see this again. I got it. I'd rather watch Any Given Sunday.
Yeah. I do like how it's like it does get into that certain American thing that it's even you see it in other movies as well, is like it's like racism can be fixed by if you just win football games.
He just mashes them together, really. I mean,
At the beginning of the movie, you've got bricks being thrown through his window. But apparently the true story of that was actually it was a used toilet, like an old toilet, but they thought it was a bit too comic. So they said, we'll just make it a brick. But now they start winning games and suddenly everyone's like, oh, it's okay.
Also, do you know how hard it is to throw a toilet through a window?
Yeah. Stand right there.
Yeah. Because I do.
You do it after each use, like, you know, it's you
I do
haven't
it after
learned that there's a flush.
Oh shit.
A scene I do like in the movie though is so Wood Harris, Julius Campbell, Avon Barksdale, he's about to go over to Jerry Bertier's house and he's on this street and it's a very white sort of like street and this police car pulls up and the way that
immediately
and the way that Wood is sort of the way he plays it is like hi officer, and then you're just waiting for that scene and the cop's like, good game the other day, you guys are doing good, and he just sort of drives off. That I like how it subverted your expectations on that one. I'm just like
kind of a bit. I mean he sells it so well too, like he's fucking terrified
and stuff. And then the way he goes in and hugs her mum, Jerry Bertier's mum. I was like,
because that was their first time meeting, and even she was like, which I love that they built that friendship together, whether that's true or not.
Yeah, no, I believe so. But yeah, Jerry and Julius,
but it felt real.
They were very much the the heart of it. Also, just these kids, they're all out there playing football, you know, and they're roughing it up. They're tackling each other. Like you're seeing it, like even in the training scenes, it's like I bet they were.
Yeah, where he wakes them up at like 3 a.m. to go on what looks like a 3-hour run, because by the time they get to the graveyard, the sun is up.
To Gettysburg.
So, to Gettysburg, I'm like, I mean, it's a beautiful metaphor. Like I'm like, oh, The blacks and whites are buried together. I get it now.
It's
But
it's just yeah. I know. I'm with you on that one. It's like
yeah,
it's just saccharine.
it's powerful. It is. Yeah, I would say saccharine, but I know what you're saying.
It could have become, I guess, is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, it is a Disney movie. So I mean, it does, which I didn't even realize. I never associated this movie as being a Disney movie, but watching it on fucking Disney Plus, I'm like, it feels like a.
Yeah,
It's like it's got a specific book jacket wrapped around it that just is Disney.
It pulls its punches a little bit because it's Disney produced. Also, it's a little historically inaccurate because I've been to Gettysburg and there's a Hardee's right there, like next to the graveyard. And where was the Hardee's? Like,
you would know that. You would know that.
My dad and I just remember we went to visit, Gettysburg. We were big Civil War buffs. We're like, oh, this is an incredible historic. Is there a Hardee's right there? Like, it was just one of those, like, just
we were a Checkers family.
Positive people were torn apart by cannonballs right there. And that's like where they put this fast food restaurant. It's like, it feels a little disrespectful. We ate there, but
So the original script was full of profanity, but Disney had it all
from Hayden Panettiere.
Rampant racism coming from him.
You can't give this movie a hard R. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah.
So interesting enough, so then a story recounted by Paul Thomas Anderson on the Director's Cut podcast says that despite a test screening of this film being a near flawless 98%, one Disney executive nervously pondered that there was work to do. But like I said, it's just it hits those moments, the needle drops. Like I said,
it is a template. Like it is. I don't know.
A template. I think if you put it up and you just broke down, scene 1, act 2, this, that, and the other, it's all there. But I still defend this movie. I still go, no, this is a movie I put.
It's good
because I want a good time.
I don't want to throw out this phrase because I know we do it every time, but it is kind of like a perfect movie, but the only negative is how predictable it is because it is so like by the numbers.
Ooh, this is interesting. So like I was saying, is that you see a lot of the guys outside, Donald Faison doing some pretty hard tackles and stuff. You see a lot of the other players playing. Kit Pardue, who plays Sunshine, he becomes the quarterback after the other guy, Rev, is injured.
Yeah.
Kit Pardue played quarterback at Yale.
Oh, wow. Oh, shit. Oh, wow. I mean, it did look like he, much like Damon Wayans being the perfect drill sergeant, he was a fantastic quarterback.
And I'm out. I will say, like, it's kind of, this is going to be a weird comparison, but it reminds me a little bit of the first Avatar movie, which is everything about it made super well. There's no problem with it, but it's an okay movie because the story is just like
blue Pocahontas.
It will not surprise you.
No.
Dances with Space Wolves.
Yeah, Gully 2.
But I know exactly what you mean, Will. Exactly, because I'm a defender of Avatar too. You and I are both team Avatar.
And that's another genre of films that I absolutely love, like The Last Samurai. Like I love that kind of, oh no, this person is fighting this group, but then gets hurt and then is adopted into this group and takes all of the things that he loves. Then he's got to go back and fight the other group. I love that.
Yeah.
More of that, please.
Yeah. Big fan as well.
Yeah. If you can do that with a sports movie, great.
Well, that's basically Remember the Titans. It's like I think just the way the movie starts as well, as we start in the future and then we go flashback and then we end up, and it's kind of like got that sad and I'll give them credit, is they do make everyone apart from Ryan Gosling looks like a man.
He looks so out of place in this fucking movie. It's ridiculous.
In the end scene where like you've got, everyone's now got mustaches and beards and they actually look like the 30-year-old actors that they are. Instead of playing teenagers, Ryan Gosling still looks, he looks like he's in his dad's suit, standing next to them. He's like still not a hair on his face.
I love it. He was great.
Yeah.
Weirdly, the comic relief of this movie.
Yeah. Well, he's just
testament to his timing. Yeah.
He is Kenough. You've got to believe in his Kenergy. They're just Kenning all over the place. I love it.
I had to watch The Nice Guys just to wash the Ken, just to kind of clean that slate a bit.
That is a great movie.
Fantastic.
The Nice Guys, great movie. Unfortunately, it's in LA, so
I'm going to pick it next
season
time.
of the show. We'll get to it when we do California again. as we try to topple, I don't know, The Rock. But yeah, Remember the Titans. I mean, Will Patton. Like, I remember there's a couple of moments where it's like the one bit where he calls out the referees that are screwing them up. You know, he just goes out and he kind of threatens them with a smile on his face. He's like, okay. I love that bit. And it's also towards the end when he's like, you know, make sure they remember when they played the Titans. I'm like, if he wants to just say something, where Will Patton hammers a line, he hammers it. And I'm like, I'm just watching it, like, yes.
It's so weird to me. I always think back like the first time you see an actor in something. I don't know if you guys do that.
Yes.
But for me, it's him and Gone in 60 Seconds. I don't know why.
Him and Gone is like
I was like, oh, that's that guy.
I always go with the guy from Gone in 60 Seconds. Yeah, that's it. Annoyingly exactly what I do.
Yeah, and even the whole time I'm watching what was the Kevin Costner one?
No Way Out.
No Way Out. Yeah, I was thinking No Escape. But even him and that, I'm like, oh, it's just little Willie P.
And I always, whenever I think him Gone in 60 Seconds, I think I've talked about it on the podcast before, but it's like when he's sort of talking to Nicolas Cage, he goes about the bad guy. His name's Raymond Calitri. Goes by the woodworker or the carpenter. By the carpenter.
Yeah.
You know, because he just loves making woodworking stuff. But the way he delivers that line, his name Raymond Calitri goes by the carpenter.
All I can think about is him, the other guy, the Raymond Calitri delivering the Randall Raines is like when it rains, it pours line. I'm like, this feels so fucking out of place. I don't care. I love that movie.
Christopher Eccleston. Eccleston,
famously in The Leftovers. I don't know if you guys have watched that. It's phenomenal.
Yeah.
He was Doctor Who. For the first season of Doctor Who. You dick.
It's pronounced Doctor Whom.
Sorry, I was coughing for a second. Did you say the best season of Doctor Who? We're just skipping over the David Tennant years.
The first season of Doctor Who, of the new Doctor Who, because I grew up on Sylvester McCoy, so you know he's my Doctor. I haven't actually watched any of the new Doctor Who's, like the whole.
I've never seen any
their
of them.
minds for the last 20 years about Doctor Who. I've not watched a single minute of that show. So
all I know is there's a phone booth.
There is a phone booth.
Guys, so does Bill and Ted's. Just watch that instead.
Done. Problem solved. Anything else from Remember the Titans before we move on and get to the movie we
can't really remember?
Yeah.
I mean, this, like I said, this movie's fantastic. I think everyone should see it. I recommend it. You know, the fact that it is a true story, you get all of the dynamics you're looking for. Again, it does nothing new, but it's still an excellent watch.
You can watch it with the fam. It's very much a family film. Everyone's gonna.
And if you can, watch the R-rated cut.
Yeah, I just wouldn't that have been great?
Yeah.
The Avon Barksdale cut is amazing. But now, let's move on to the most surprising movie of them all, 1985's D.A.R.Y.L. Now, the great fun for Ryan and I, after watching it on Zoom, was Will watching it, but we made Will go, we were like, do not look anything up. Do not Google it.
I was genuinely surprised you hadn't seen it. It seems like a movie that's right in your wheelhouse.
I'd never heard of it. Yeah, this was a totally like you guys.
A lot of people haven't. I don't think it's as. I mean, I think it's got a very deep rooted like subculture of people who adore this movie. But I think in terms of like your Karate Kids and shit like that, maybe a lot of people haven't seen it.
That's why. So Ryan and I went in worried that this movie was probably not as good as we remember. Because it's like, why isn't regarded as a War Games, as you know, as a Flight of the Navigator, as a Karate Kid? Why? It must be something wrong. And then we watch the movie, go, nope, this movie's fucking.
We even were talking about like how like modern, like how a Stranger Things cribs from like all of these kind of resources, like all the Spielberg stuff. But it really just pulled from this fucking movie. It's insane. Like you watch this, you're like, oh shit, it's all of the pieces.
That's so funny that you say that, because I was definitely like as I was watching, I'm like, this feels so familiar, not in just like an 80s movie way. But yeah, now that you say Stranger Things, I'm like, yeah, that's
once I
the
said
vibe
it, it's all I could see. This movie opens with we'll talk about what's the plot of this fucking movie? Kid with robot brain do cool stuff.
Yeah. So that was like the fun thing is so he starts watching the movie, and that's when Will, like in the first 10 minutes, goes, this kid, what is he, like an alien? And it's like, what is he? What is he like, a robot? And it's like, whoa,
Yeah.
he is like he's a.
That's when I realized, oh shit, Will hasn't seen this movie. I thought you
Yeah.
were fucking with us. I
No,
thought
no,
because you burned us so hard on Major Payne. I was like, I swear, if he doesn't like this, I'm gonna fucking lose it. I'm out.
I'm out of the podcast. We're done.
Yeah.
But yeah, so Daryl
Do my own podcast.
is D.A.R.Y.L.
Which is annoying to type over and over again in a
It's really annoying in a
text
text thread
message.
to have to do that.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's really.
But I've done it so much now that anytime I just start with the letter D, it automatically goes to Daryl fucking rules.
autocorrects.
Yeah.
Autofills.
Daryl stands for Data Analyzing Robot Youth Life Form, which is a great acronym.
And I had to say, I'm like, did they come up with that first? And then they're like, oh shit, Daryl.
You have
or
Happened to work out.
it's a real chicken or the egg scenario. I don't know.
But the movie starts with a quite sort of dramatic car chase with
a Rambo style car chase.
Yeah, then with this little kid that's dressed so well in the back with his little fucking blazer on. And honestly, Ryan and I were talking about through the whole movie. Like, Will, you've met my son, but in many ways, Daryl was my son. We're watching him. Looks like him, talks like him. Oh my god, this is crazy.
Yeah.
But it starts off, and like he gets dropped off by, we don't know at the time, but a scientist, whose then next part of his plan is to dramatically drive off a cliff and kill himself. In the fire explosion. I'm like, this is how the movie starts? I forgot about this bit. Like,
just
and a
wild.
comically bad, like 80s style slow motion car go off, go down, huge explosion.
Yeah. It's a real Toonces to Cat situation.
Yeah. Right.
And then the next scene is we've got Daryl. So he remembers that he's Daryl, but he has no like memories. He's like, he doesn't remember really all this sort of stuff. He just knows, I'm Daryl, I'm just a kid. And he's in the nicest, I mean, for an abandoned kid in the 80s, I mean, I guess it's just the white privilege of it.
I was going to say, well, he is white. So
he's in this, like, they're in this abandoned kids' place that's like, they must be funded to the eyeballs. It is so nice. And like, they're just the nicest people looking after them. Within 3 seconds, he's been placed with a family in North Carolina, which was then Michael McKean. I was like, Michael McKean? I forgot he was the dad in this movie.
I will say, several minutes into this movie, we're like, oh no, does any of this take place in Virginia? But we did catch the license plate on the front of the car did say Virginia.
In the first 5 minutes, you get a close-up of Virginia license plate, but half the movie takes place in North Carolina. The other half takes place in Virginia. I'm still here, Darren. My camera just died for a second. I'm still here. The camera's died, but
Carol's taking over.
It'll be back in a minute. But yeah, no, we did have this initially. Ryan and I were concerned that was like after all the fun that we'd made of Will for picking the Patriot and making him watch Major Payne, we did have a very worried 30 minutes of oh shit.
But it circled back in the end, so we were fine.
Yeah,
didn't matter. Ollie was trying to write down fucking loopholes to get through to make it work, and we did. Yeah, we got there. I don't remember what they were.
I was going to figure it out, but I kept waiting for this movie to start sucking, and it doesn't at all. Like, so Will, like, for you, first time in, going in blind, tell us about your reaction to Daryl.
Yeah, like, so it starts off kind of like nutty, like you were saying. Like, there's a car chase, the guy like drives off a cliff, and
that's
like,
the cold open. That's crazy.
Yeah, and so I'm like, okay, so like the government's hunting this kid. And by 80s movie law, that can literally mean only two things. He's either an alien or a robot of some kind. Like, that's just, there's nothing else it could be. And that's when I was texting you guys, I'm like, well, which one is he? But as the movie's going on, just because I've seen movies of this genre so many times, I'm like, okay, he's not confused by human things. He just doesn't have memory. So that's when I was like, okay, he's probably a robot. And I was expecting him to be like, literally like a Terminator, like a genuine like robot with flesh over his endoskeleton. But I'm actually glad that the movie turned out the way it did, because it ended up being way less dark than that.
Yeah,
I was worried it was going to go like to real dark movie territory.
I didn't realize that that's what he was until like 60 minutes into this. I'm like, oh wait, he's just a boy with a robot brain. Awesome.
See, I'd forgotten. Like, I'd remembered I remember bits of the movie. Like I remember the bit where he's in the big like scan. I remember the
Dude,
bit.
how fucking cool was that? The
Yeah, I remember
production
the bit.
design, it was like designed by Wayland Yutani. It was fucking sick.
I remember the bit where they're talking to his brain. You know, like
Fucking
all the
nuts.
elements. I'd forgotten about and we'll get to it, but the car chase. Where like
Oh my God.
you know, I mean, it's just this movie. The thing about it, what we were talking about, Will, was like how efficient the movie was. So
Mhm.
it didn't waste any time. You know, all right, there he is. Okay, now he's been adopted by this foster family. We find out there's Turtle, the kid that lives next door.
Great.
We establish Turtle's relationship with Michael McKean's family. And you know, before you know it, he's playing pole position. And then you're texting going, yep, he's definitely a robot. Because he's like,
Yeah.
Yeah. No one's that good at Atari pole position.
Yeah. Unless it's a kid from The Wizard. Nobody's that good
Right.
at video games.
Same kind of energy, you know? I mean,
Yeah.
but like, I love that this kid is just like, you can see him much like he's so good in this movie. And the only other thing we remembered him from is
Never
Bastion.
ending story.
Bastion, yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And like you can see him as he's like calculating
Mhm.
program to love. It's fucking great.
Yeah.
We were dying watching this fucking movie. But
And I was gonna say other things about this movie is it's definitely surprising. It definitely, unlike Remember the Titans, it doesn't do
Yeah.
quite what you're expecting it to do. Because I was texting you guys being like, all right, 80s movie, super kid law.
yeah,
It's gotta have a rad skateboard scene. He's gotta have some light, playful, you know, adorable sexual harassment. And you know, he's gotta have like some sequence where there's like animals involved or something. Like I was just like, I know this 80s checklist.
I was
There's
waiting.
got to be a musical montage. Has to be.
Yeah, no,
It doesn't do that.
it's the other kind of 80s checklist of dark, people being shot, cops shooting at us. Like it's more like 70s conspiracy thriller.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
and then the entire fight. I mean, I was just like, you know, because you were texting us and we were enjoying knowing where you were in the movie. But I was like, just wherever you think this movie's gonna end up, it's not gonna end up there.
When you see him
No.
like spider climbing on the fence.
That
in
is
little
the best
kind of-
shot
I
in the
was
movie.
dying. that
That
was
was-
so because the camera's
I had
falling.
to pause. We had to pause. Like so inconspicuous. Like the worst place you can hide is like grasping on a chain link fence outside of a government facility.
could not be
Fucking great.
more visible.
And the whole ending is basically just Top Gun Maverick. It's a
Well,
perfect
it's-
fucking movie.
It's
Yeah.
it's actually this is the child version of a movie that I'm quite fond of. It's the Clint Eastwood movie Firefox. It's an 80s sort of espionage movie. It's about him stealing this prototype jet from the Russians. So you get this sort of conspiracy sort of like espionage movie for the first two acts, and then the last act is Top Gun Maverick of him stealing this jet.
Yeah.
And like Ryan and I again, so when it gets to him stealing the SR-71 Blackbird, by the way, that happens in this movie, to get back to Turtle, his buddy, is the special effects still hold up.
Yeah, a lot of the shots were still great.
It
And they were
looked
using real
good.
footage of this fucking government plane, which is
They
crazy
were.
at that time.
This movie bombed. It got mixed reviews. It bombed. They made it for 10 million. It made 7 million. And I do not understand how or why, because it's the dark sort of like, you've taken Big, you've taken Terminator, you've taken War Games, you've taken Firefox, you've shaken it all up.
I said this when we were talking, I wanted one, like, so he's a part of this family. Then the scientists from the original lab show up they find him to bring him home. Meanwhile, this kid is hacking fucking ATM machines and giving him millions of dollars, which they never once touch upon again.
That was shocking.
That was awesome. He's like, hang on, I'm coming, communicating, and you see the numbers go up. It's fucking, I don't know what he's typing into this ATM.
I know.
Awesome.
He only took his coding was only 6 or 7 button presses. But
He had like $1,400 in his account, then 14,000, 140,000, 1.4 million. I was like, all right, cool. I'm sure that won't raise any fucking red flags.
Right.
So then, his science family shows up, and it's the doctor from oh my god, what else? We said he was in
It's Joseph Summer is the actor.
yeah.
Yeah, G.I. Joe 2.
Yeah.
That's what I know him from.
Yeah. He was just, he was in the other guys. Like he just pops up. And
He's
shit.
in
Anyway,
Close Encounters. That's what we knew him from.
That's
right.
On the podcast.
And yeah, they bring him back to the government facility, and you learn about all the shit that they're testing on. Like you learn more about what they're doing. I don't even remember what their purpose was. If he's supposed to be some kind of like government weapon.
Yes,
probably,
he was intended to produce a super soldier.
Right.
So he was the test, but like I don't know why they did it on a child.
And they put him in this dope room, and he's playing like 6 fucking video games at the same time. Every kid's dream.
Yeah. And I was like, I will sign up for this program.
It's
this
like
seems awesome.
This movie goes at like a breakneck pace, and this is well after the baseball montage. Fantastic.
I was about to say we've got to talk about the baseball.
Yeah, we do. We'll get there.
Because...
But they get him on an airplane, and he walks up to the cockpit, and he's like, "So, how do you fly this thing?"
Yeah,
and he's just like, you can tell he's. I was like, oh boy, I wonder if this is going to come up later. And Oli almost fell over from anticipation because he knew what was coming.
I texted you guys I'm like, oh shit, he's gonna fly a plane.
I know, like, you have no idea. He's gonna fly the coolest plane in the world. That's what he's gonna.
He learns how to. He becomes a cartographer almost immediately, and he's like, oh, so if we were on the plane, we were like here, and you know what? It doesn't even matter because this kid plays baseball. Yeah. How does he learn how to play baseball? Take it away, Oli.
Because
Michael McKean call it cricket.
Throws a ball in his general direction.
Yeah.
Yep. Like that was my favorite part is because
calibrating.
But, so you get the whole baseball game, which then ends where all of us have talked about earlier, is where you assume that the credits would roll in any other 80s movie. Is like everything's won, we're all happy, it's a happy family. But what Ryan and I really like
before that too,
remember how the mum, the foster mom, who's always wanted to be a kid, is frustrated because her child is so well behaved. And I'm like, trust me, no adult is frustrated when their children is amazingly well behaved.
But I think they're talking about but there's a line where they've been like trying to adopt for some time, right? They've been on the list, and they finally get D.A.R.Y.L into their lives. And the kid sucks. He's too perfect, right? So
again, I can relate. Yeah. Too perfect, still disappointing his parents. Yeah, I feel you, kid. I know D.A.R.Y.L's journey.
So up until this point, you're learning more about D.A.R.Y.L and what his capabilities are, and he's like the Iron Giant of killing machines, sure. And again, I was waiting for that. We'll get to what my thoughts on the ending should have been. But you have Michael McKean, like he's outside in front of the house with Turtle, and he's like, "Hey, let's teach you how to play baseball. My team fucking sucks, and I'm the coach." He throws one pitch, he doesn't hit it. D.A.R.Y.L calibrates. He throws another one and he fucking ropes it. And in that moment, he's like, I'm adopting this little fucker. This kid is like, you could see him formulate. He's like, his only goals were to adopt this boy to have the ultimate baseball team. And he smashes a fucking home run through the window while the mother is teaching piano lessons. And she's never been happier.
She's so happy. The only time she was happier, though, Ryan, is later when D.A.R.Y.L calibrates and like Turtle talks to him and goes, "Look, parents need something to do, so you gotta mess up a little bit. Yeah. You gotta like make them feel like they gotta parent you." So D.A.R.Y.L deliberately doesn't hit the ball and like slags off Michael McKean, and the joy.
Fuck you, Dad.
The joy on her face. She's like, yeah. And she runs so happy. I said the only thing that would have made it better if she'd run up so much joy and then just slapped him in the face.
Listen here, you little shit.
I get to abuse this child. Yay.
And we're glazing over the fact, you have Turtle's older sister.
Yeah.
Who's like a pivotal part in these like 80s type of films. Sure.
Oh, I definitely had a crush on the older sister because I was 11 when I watched.
A girl who plays pole position? Yes, please.
She's got the highest score. She is cool.
She can position my. Never mind.
Whoa.
Sorry, I'm realizing she was 13 in this movie.
I think
eject from this conversation.
She's only 10 years younger than the woman playing her mum, I believe. I was reading something along those lines as well. So it's just one of those interesting like castings. She was probably 30 years old playing a 13-year-old. But yes, is that when we finally get like, they take D.A.R.Y.L back, they turn up pretending to be his parents, the worst parents. Like, I wouldn't have bought them as parents at all. Yeah. It's like, oh, hello.
The woman in particular was like, I mean, that's her whole character. She's supposed to be like ice cold. She kept referring to it as like it. Right?
Yeah.
Which is
she's literally showing up being like, Hello,
Yeah.
I am government agent. I mean Susan.
I mean,
Yeah.
you would think those roles would be flipped, where the male scientist was kind of like, especially with that actor, like you can
Yeah.
see him
Yeah.
being like the villain. But she was a fucking stone cold bitch.
And the bit that, like, I mean, I can definitely pick apart, this movie if you want to, but when they take him back and they're missing Daryl, and so they invite Turtle and his foster parents into the secret government,
Oh my God.
just like these
Full tour.
government
Yeah.
secrets,
This is
basically,
Daryl's brain.
This is pre 9/11, so
Yeah. At the end of
I-
the tour, they get taken into a room and shot in the head.
Yeah. We were talking like I wanted to see a scene in this where, when they have him back at the facility, where the scientist like walks through the lab and you see all the previous Daryls in like
Oh.
fucking giant jars.
it's like a
They're
real
all, like,
alien
mangled.
resurrection
Yes,
thing. Yeah.
yes, exactly like that.
Yeah.
And the only thing this movie didn't have was Daryl fighting the previous Daryls.
Yes. 10,000%.
Yeah.
Yeah, when Ryan said that, I was like, oh, that is cool.
That's all I could think about. Just fucking two
That is
boys,
what I
like,
was expecting to
half
happen.
robot, but he's not. I guess he's not a robot, just like half synthetic,
Yeah.
just flesh monster. I don't know.
That was also my
or
nickname
at
in
the
high
very
school.
least, like Daryl walking through and like discovering that and like leaning into the horror side of it. Maybe he didn't need to fight the previous, like the 1.0 versions, but I think he should have. It would have been a cooler thing.
That would have been cool. And much like Bruce Willis in Unbreakable, his only weakness is water. Because it is 1980s technology, let's be honest. If water in any general direction is going to think. It would have been great if at the end of the movie, like once they scoop him out of the water, instead of like CPR or whatever, they just kind of like
A car battery.
the
Just jump
Nintendo
him.
blow. No, the Nintendo.
Oh yeah, the cartridge.
Like, oh, it works again.
This movie would have leaned into like, because it basically at one point just becomes, or I guess it doesn't really, like you keep waiting for that like Iron Giant moment where he like weaponizes or like
Right.
a short circuit where he becomes the fucking military weapon, but that never happens. He just plays a bit of baseball, flies a little airplane, and lives happily ever after.
Well, it's just he wants to hang out with his family and his buddy, and it's like so of course at this point, so Daryl, once he gets his memory back, the scientists, including the Ice Queen, even she gets on board. They realize this is a sentient being. He's a little kid. He might be our little sort of like $1 billion robot. So there's the evil general that just wants to turn him into mincemeat. Liquefy the child. And like, no. And so they break him out like 80s conspiracy style. And it's like you get
Awesome.
that. I forgot about the car chase. I forgot where he's like Daryl, like going, "Here, let me drive," because I played pole position, and I've seen movies where people have done side wheelies and stuff like that. I didn't care.
The connection to this in like Terminator 2, we were dying laughing.
Yeah.
So he turns the car lights off and he's like, "I see everything. I know now why you cry."
Oh my god! If they did the into
The
molten lava, the thumbs up at the end.
He does at one point. He does say "adios, dickwad."
Yeah.
But I think we joked like, it's a simple tale about one cybernetic boy's quest to find out what a hooker is.
That's
Yeah. Does he ever find out at the end? Like,
I mean,
that's a
he
sequel.
asked the sister. He asked, and it was like when Ryan said
it
that.
comes up a lot.
It does like 4 or 5 times. They put the hooker joke back in, and it's just like
Because it
80s
fucking
kids movies
works.
were the
Yeah.
best.
Yeah.
And like we're all asking our moms, "What's a hooker?"
Yeah. Ask your
Yeah.
father.
Oh
God.
my god! I honestly, maybe it's been ever since we did Hard Ticket to Hawaii as a Zoom call that we watched. But
Yeah.
like watching, like honestly, I think all movies should just be watched with Ryan Sandler.
If you subscribe to our Patreon, you too can enjoy. You
Yes.
can rent me for 90 minutes.
Because
I will
absolutely,
shit on your fucking dreams.
absolutely made this movie. But again, this movie's good. This
It's
is
good,
yeah.
good.
It's a fun watch. Get all your friends together and enjoy this movie. It's a classic for sure.
It's like,
Mhm.
it's the whole, like, the fact that they're like, how can we finish this movie? I know. Because you're like, when's he going to go Terminator? Well, he
Yeah.
does steal the SR-71 Blackbird from a military base. He does.
Pretty easily, I
Yeah.
would say.
Like
they just left the keys in it.
I was yeah.
And also, so
finger
just to
that's
say,
like
like he steals this plane, but also, spoiler alert, there's like a defense mechanism on the plane that they can remotely explode it. And how does young D.A.R.Y.L stop this? He just puts a piece of gum on the fucking camera. He knew they were watching all along.
Yeah, he gives like a wink to the camera and like
Yeah, he does one of those. Yeah.
You know, Barrett Oliver, great little actor.
Yeah.
Like he's brilliant in this movie of playing a robot, but not robot.
So good. We were saying that. Yeah, I thought it was like a young Will Wheaton from Stand By Me at first.
And as it turns out, he was a young Adam Driver.
He did. What happened to
advanced dynamic automated?
We can get there. Make it work. Oh, the government listening in gave the thumbs up.
But he was, so he was in Never Ending Story, as we were. Interesting enough, like, because he was in
both of them, right?
He's in Never Ending Story, but when in D.A.R.Y.L, it's almost like he's introduced, like in the credits, it's like and Barrett Oliver, or it was like introducing Barrett Oliver, but it's not his first one. He was in Cocoon the same year,
right?
In The Return. I don't remember this kid being in Cocoon.
He played the.
I
Cocoon.
don't either.
And he's in both of the Cocoon movies. I'm like, what? I have no idea. But like he since 1988, that was his last real thing. 1988.
I mean, I definitely remember him only from like the Never Ending Story, just because I'd seen that movie so many times as a kid. And everyone wanted to be Bastian in that fucking attic, just reading that book by candlelight. It looks so goddamn cozy.
Yeah.
I only saw that movie once. I saw that movie when I was 16 years old.
Fucking traumatizing.
With a girl that loved the movie, and I Ryaned it. So we watched this movie. She's like, "You've never seen it? Oh, we're gonna watch."
Let's not start making that a thing.
As the person who hated Major Payne and trashed it, I'm fine with like calling the trashing a movie Ryaning it. Let's move that away from me. That's Ryan's trait.
It's not
He loves everything.
Trashing it is doing live improv comedy throughout the movie and reacting to it.
Every movie needs it. Yeah. I wouldn't say do it in the theater, but at home with your friends, get everyone together, light some candles, and watch D.A.R.Y.L. It's a fucking blast.
Well then, okay, so I remember it being jarring as a kid, but you've got like we've had the chase, we've got away. Now they've stolen a truck. And they end up in the middle of there's Virginia State Troopers set on the.
Oh my God! It's just one guy. It's just one guy on the road.
Yeah.
The thing is, they've got a plan. So they turn up, they go through the roadblock, but then D.A.R.Y.L runs out to the truck.
Oh man!
Full view.
Yeah.
The other guy, and you've got the happy music, and they're laughing and they're giggling, and then through 80s movie, we turn the corner. There's another state trooper, and he fucking kills the scientist.
He opens fire with a shotgun and starts blast. Like you're like, whoa, and you see the bullets go through the windshield. You're like, he got him. Yeah, he hit him. And you're like, oh, he's wounded now. And I at least put D.A.R.Y.L in like a little mustache or something, like have him disguised officer. Problem solved.
But because he keeps saying is like, when were we getting that Iron Giant thing? Well, it's when the Iron Giant learns about death, when, we've got the dead deer. Well, this is D.A.R.Y.L, and the guy dies. Yeah. What's the very next thing? He's Spider Monkey on the side of the area.
Well, what they needed here, too, was almost like a First Blood type of scenario where it's just D.A.R.Y.L defending himself in the wilderness. Like, I wanted more.
Yes.
And maybe it'd be a completely different movie. This movie is like very sweet and heartfelt. It's very much an 80s classic, but God, I wanted more violence.
Yeah, it would have been incredible
had D.A.R.Y.L kill.
It would have been incredible. Like from that point in the movie onward, you got like people are like, he's in the forest, and it's like turning into like Predator. Like
yes,
they're coming across like people hanging upside down.
You have that heartfelt scene with like the science daddy dying on the fucking ground, and then D.A.R.Y.L is like, I know now why you cry. Just feeling all this is calculated processing.
Taking his hand and said, "Do you want me to show you a little trick? Take your mind off that."
Take your mind off the page.
But no, I'm really like you could have in this movie had that You know, had that scene, no one else of the movie is aware of it, but he's murdered all these people. And you kind of got that creeping fear at the end of the movie as he's with the family, and then you see him like staring at a knife or something. It's like,
He's now got a taste for murder.
And maybe watching that shitty movie Megan kind of spoiled me on that, like, which is not a good movie. But it was just always in the back of my mind. I'm like, oh, I'm waiting for the switch to be flipped where he just becomes a fucking weapon and starts murdering everyone. And it's down to him and Turtle, and Turtle's like, no, Daryl, remember the hookers. And his eyes go from red to white, and he's like, oh yeah, the hookers. Credits.
See, I was waiting for when Science Daddy died. The thought that creeped into my head is I was like, wait a minute, he's an AI. What if he like carves the guy out Tauntaun style and crawls inside and he's like meat puppeting his like corpse?
Yes.
He's driving through the stage to be like, yes, I am a normal adult human.
Yeah. Just his face. Yes. Better movie.
Is even better than the actual.
But no, he commandeers a $6 million fucking airplane and then just crashes it.
Well, no. He gets himself into the general area of where these guys lived in.
Because he knows the coordinates. He knows the latitude.
Right.
The longitudinous.
He is a robot. He covers the camera. And then just as they're about to detonate him, he ejects. Again, flawless plan. Lands in the water, and then you get like there's been some sort of
oh shit, I can't swim
about how the sister, how Turtle was like a lifeguard or something. So like Turtle goes out to save his bro, and then he dies. He dies.
Well, before that you get that 80s thing of them riding the bicycles, very important.
And there was
bicycle scene,
and we had walkie-talkies. We had the walkie-talkie scene. We had bicycle scene.
They were like a half a mile away from where he lands at just this perfect lake. And then she's like, Turtle, you're a good swimmer. Go get him.
Yeah. But like,
she's like, I'm not getting in the water.
But you're 6 foot tall and significant.
Yeah.
No, I'll
you're on the swim team.
I guess I'll go get Daryl.
Yeah.
But like,
you got him? You good?
The next
doing it.
Daryl dies.
That water looked cold.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
Daryl, end of movie. Or so you think, because then you also get like it's Science Mummy is actually in the hospital, we notice. And then you get like that really sweet bit at the end, which is also quite funny, is Daryl's like running to the house and there's Turtle and they see each other. And it's because it's the 80s. Now it's kind of like, it's one of those things I remember when Richard Linklater was doing his Everybody Wants Some movie. And his thing is like when he's telling the guys, no hugging, this is the 80s. Right? Yeah. It was like high fives and stuff like that. We didn't hug, that would be gay. So you get Daryl and Turtle running to each other. They kind of jump into each other, but there's no hugging. And they cut away, and it cuts back 2 seconds later, and Ryan and I died. Because all they're doing is just slapping each other.
Yeah, it's like they couldn't decide on whether like to hug, pat on the back, handshake, or head pat. So they just did all of it. Their two bodies kind of mashed together like you would hit two fucking action figures. And they're like slapping, and it's like in the background. Like you can see they don't know what the fuck they're doing. And then it ends.
And then credits. Problem solved.
With the same song from the end of First Blood.
Yeah, I was about to say
the Frank Stallone song.
The same thing. Because it's sort of, it's like the one from the end of War Games as well. Like that song from the end of War Games, banger.
Yeah.
But
yeah, no post credits. No, where are they now? What the fuck? This $1 billion robot kid just grows up, goes to college, and then what? Becomes a senator? What happens? Does he make more Daryls? Does he perfect it? Like, I need to know.
That upcoming movie, Civil War, from Alex Garland. That's who the actor plays. Ron Swanson. He's playing a grown-up Daryl who has become a tyrant and a 3-term president.
Now I'm sold. Yeah. If you haven't seen Alex Garland's show Devs, because Nick Offerman's also in that. And he plays like a tech billionaire CEO, and it's fantastic.
It was a very good show, and very Alex Garland as well.
Very, very Alex Garland. Yeah. But anyway, back to Daryl.
Yeah, it looks beautiful.
But the little robot boy that could.
So
and did.
That did, yes. So hang on, Ryan, I'm forgetting. Had you seen Daryl before, or were you going?
Yes. No, I definitely seen it before, but it wasn't like growing up. It wasn't on the top of my rewatching list like a Ghostbusters or a Karate Kid, so to speak, like that. Those kind of like 80s movies for me. So So I hadn't seen it in a really long time. So I felt like I was watching for the first time. So I remembered. I might as well have been. I remembered nothing from
You
this.
see, I was kind of in that. I was remembering things as they happened. Like
Right.
I was like, oh, the reawakening
Yes,
memories.
yeah.
Like because there's certain, like I said, there's certain moments and things that I did remember. Certain,
You got Daryl, son.
but like, so I'm just like, I know we talked about it a little bit, but like, but Will, like, Daryl, like for you going in, never seen it, like it being kind of like an 80s movie, how do you feel about it, like through the 2024 lens of
I
what?
think, yeah, I think this holds up a lot better than like even some like classic 80s movies because it doesn't do exactly what you think it's going to do.
Yeah.
It does it all well. And it's just the characters are just really likable. Even Turtle, who's like
Yeah.
in any other 80s movie, he'd be kind of the doofus or something, or kind of like,
It felt very genuine.
Yeah.
Like it
yeah,
felt
like
like
they
how
really
kids
felt like
would
friends.
talk. Yeah.
Yeah.
You know?
And like Turtle's actually giving him like great friend advice. Like he's not a useless, just kind of dummy. He was like actually like
Yeah.
a real character who had
Yeah.
like agency within the story.
Yeah.
So I really was surprised by this. I really enjoyed it. I will say it's maybe a little anticlimactic in some parts. I could definitely see like you could probably juice this movie up a little bit more so that it could get to those Spielbergian levels. But
Daryl fighting other Daryls.
yes, it's what it needed.
Or
But
and
like,
hear me out. Hear me out. You get the other Daryls in fighter jets. Hang on. Hang on.
oh my god,
Yes, yes.
oh my god,
Better movie. Different vibe, I
mean,
guess.
but yeah, no, I was totally surprised by it. I really enjoyed it. I thought this was really fun.
Yeah.
Yeah, I loved it. I
I'd
thought
say
it was great.
there was a frustration that happened. If anybody from the company that owns Vudu is listening, which is the digital video rental or owning place, is that Daryl is one. It should have been a $6.99 purchase. It is a $15 movie. It is $14.99.
Whoa.
Which is wild and insane and crazy. Because had it been a $6.99 movie, I would have bought it. But
well, that's why Oliver Barrett doesn't act anymore. He's getting all the residuals from these $15 purchases.
I really hope so.
I'm sitting on that Daryl money, baby.
The stupidest part was I spent $5 to rent this movie.
Yeah.
And then at the end, it's like, oh, would you like to upgrade and buy it for $15.99? I'll go,
yes.
No.
Yes.
If you had said, do you want to pay the extra $9 that
yeah,
you already,
I agree.
would have bought it. But I'm not spending another $15 on top. So fix that, Voodoo. Fix that. Because I would have bought this movie because I kind of want to watch it again. But I was
We'll already order the 4K Steelbook.
Yeah, just
oh yeah, you wait before
Comes
you
in a pole position case.
most realistic D.A.R.Y.L doll you can.
oh my god,
cybernetic brain. Stuff like that.
yeah, you have to open up his head,
dude. When they show his fucking brain, dude, what? That
Yeah.
was nuts. That was nuts. I do like the bits where he would fucking Daryl fools. Like for example, when he's in the classroom and the teacher's like, actually, this answer is incorrect, and Daryl just fucking lights him up. He's like, no, you dummy. I'm running all the calculations. I know more than you.
The bit where he just starts grading the thing and just like correcting stuff. He's that kid, legit.
Great.
This movie, fantastic. No notes on this one.
Yep, the most Virginia movie to ever Virginia.
yes.
It starts in Virginia. ...
There are some more scenes in Virginia. A guy gets shot in Virginia.
I'm sure that government base was in Virginia, right?
Yeah,
gotta be Langley or something, right?
It was exactly.
Yeah.
Funny enough, that the
Open and shut case.
the government building in which Daryl was created is also the setting for FIRM, FIRM, Archangel's headquarters on Airwolf, the TV show.
Oh, well, we all knew that. we're all big firm heads here.
I do like that Tom Cruise movie.
So let's do it. Let's try and get into the interesting nature of this. Is that, remember, the Titans was shot mainly in Georgia, even though it is a very Virginia movie, and in many ways it's basically shot in Georgia. Daryl shot in London, Orlando at Epcot Center, Florida, I think North Carolina. Because the computer things were all at Disney's Epcot Center, just FYI.
Sick.
And then
That makes sense.
Major Payne is shot 100% at the Miller School of Albemarle in Virginia. So there is one movie of these three that is entirely shot in Virginia, set in Virginia with the Virginia military games. Then we've got D.A.R.Y.L that starts and ends in the middle with Virginia. And Remember the Titans that is set in Virginia, but only in Georgia. Discuss.
Well, as I've always said, it's more important what a movie feels like than where it's shot. I famously have always said that. Don't go back and check.
We'll edit this out. I think Ollie, within 12 or within several, like I said, within several minutes of watching D.A.R.Y.L for Virginia, we both collectively said, "Oh no." But I was already on board with how much I love this movie, whether it took the title or not. So I'm okay with removing D.A.R.Y.L from the Virginia conversation.
Well, the thing is, the first 5 minutes.
You do get the police badge, sure. Yeah.
I've been to Virginia, right? And it was rolling hills and green and quite nice. And like the opening scene of D.A.R.Y.L is like, is he in the Rockies?
Like, yeah, nowhere.
It's like
nowhere near Virginia.
Peak or cliffhanger. You know? Like,
yeah.
I was like, I don't remember Virginia looking.
Honestly, no problem with that.
So,
no problem with that.
It's like, but yeah, I mean, I think that I'm with you, is that I could probably let D.A.R.Y.L go off to be it with a.
Is it the most Virginia movie? No. Is it the best movie? Yes.
By
yes,
yeah,
the best movie. But Remember the Titans might be shot in Georgia, but it is a very specifically Virginia story. Talking about integration, talking about that time. You know, it's still a conversation that goes on to this day. It's Virginia football. You know, I can see that. But at the same time, Major Payne is also very Virginia. I mean, it's always talking about the Virginia military games. It's a very Virginia setting because it is in Virginia. I mean, that boarding school, I mean, it couldn't be more Virginia.
I mean, 2 movies that solve racism. Man, tough call. Tough call.
That's the only thing that D.A.R.Y.L didn't.
Now, just in my mind's eye, I'm picturing just the Denzel Wayans role swap for each movie, but the voices are the same.
Oh God.
I think Denzel as Major Payne would have been.
It'd be a very different movie.
It would have won Oscars, is what it would have done. So, Will, what are you thinking, buddy? Like, you know.
Yeah, I agree. Remember the Titans wins. Like no competition, no other thing to consider. No, all right. Okay, we'll be
take
serious.
Emotion out of it.
Yeah, we'll be objective.
Fuck Major Payne.
Absolutely. If I'm to look at anything, where it's shot, that does actually. The thing is that I don't think that Academy, really represents Virginia. It just kind of represents that, that military academy. Apparently well enough that they used it again in another movie. They used that same place. So, but that's not really Virginia as a whole. I would argue for Remember the Titans, honestly, because it's covering the history, it's covering real people, a longer time period. There is traveling around. You get more of a sense of the community. Sure. And so it's just got a lot more of what feels like Virginia, despite having been shot somewhere else.
That was an annoyingly good.
Yeah, when you picked this movie, Ollie, I was like, oh man, that's not fair. Give us a challenge. But yeah, this movie is like the heart and soul of that representation of football at that time in this area with everything going on, and I think it is arguably the most Virginia, even though it's not shot there.
I'm annoyed because it's a good argument, guys. I honestly, Will, the way you put it down about like Major Payne might be 100% set.
There's more likely to be a Coach Boone statue than there is a Major Payne statue. Yeah, I'm not saying I would keep demolishing
it.
So yeah, okay. You know what? Sometimes these debates go on. Sometimes it's in this case. I'm going to say I agree. I think the 3 movies we chose were fantastic. I had such a good time watching these.
It's a no-painter.
For me, I mean, I honestly, you joked about getting the Steelbook, but I'm going to own D.A.R.Y.L. I think that's one of the best little things about this week is rediscovering a childhood movie and realizing it wasn't even better than I remember.
And I want to hear what our fans think, like specifically about how wrong Will is, like I said, but more importantly, rediscovering like old films like this and movies you watched when you were younger that you're now watching with your children. That's such a fun thing, and if they fucking hate that, you're like, you disown them. It's fine,
right?
Like, you're done.
So you're
like, D.A.R.Y.L, you're fucking out.
that the official movie to represent Virginia on the United States of a Movie podcast, at least until we find another better Major Payne style movie to bring back to the show, is Remember the Titans from the year 2000, with directed by Boaz Yakin. You can find it on Disney Plus. It's a great watch. You can find Major Payne and D.A.R.Y.L in my voodoo.
We're in the trash.
That D.A.R.Y.L was the best movie of the three. Remember the Titans was the most efficient movie, and Major Payne is just a movie that we love and Will hates.
Yeah.
Yep.
All of the movies made me feel a lot of things about myself.
So, okay, what were any of the also ran movies apart from The Patriot?
Patriot. Shit. Oh man, I think I have to look at my list. I think like Donnie Darko is maybe one. I think shot in or set in Virginia, if I'm remembering.
I was kind of circling a lot. I was going to kind of cheat and do some of like the CIA movies, because like lab-based movies and things. So there was like, I was toying with the idea of doing like the Brad Pitt spy game. I love Spy Game.
Spy Hard, the Leslie Nielsen movie.
But there was Lawless. You know, that Tom Hardy kind of like.
I was thinking about that one.
Oh yeah.
I think The New World, technically, you know, that it's Malik, because it's like they land in the New World. I was tempted a little bit by maybe going like National Treasure as well, because we've got a lot of.
Oh, my other one was Arlington Road. Fucking love that movie.
Yes, you almost went with that one.
AKA Blown Away 2, still blowing.
Minority Report.
That was one I was circling for a bit. Ultimately,
again, even like New Hampshire and Maine, like all these movies, they're all in the same vicinity, so it's really hard to narrow down that state. Much like versus like where I should say where the state is like also a character in the movie or like a major part of it, instead of just a setting.
Oh, there's the 3-hour, 39-minute long Gods and Generals with Robert Duvall and stuff like that. But yeah, I feel like I think the trick is, it's like you're saying, New England's interesting because, it's kind of small. That's why it's like New England, because it's like you could just get on a train and before you know it, you're in Connecticut, you're in this place, you're in that place. So there's kind of a lot of crossover, but I think maybe next time when we come back to Virginia, we all do like spy movies. So it's like MacGruber and like things like that. We could maybe get into.
I'm going to watch MacGruber right now.
Yeah.
I am very happy with the movies that we chose this week. I thought that was a really fun.
So is Will.
Yeah. I'm still like, Will has some of the best movie knowledge of anyone I've ever met. He enjoys all of the movies, all of garbage.
Debatable.
But then like the fact that you just like your hatred for Twister and for Major Payne. So much confusion.
We gave you an out. Like we were knee-jerk suggesting Major Payne, and we offered other suggestions. But I think you really wanted to pour salt on the wound and be like, nope, I'm going to do this and I'm going to hate it. Fuck you.
You're glutton for punishment.
And you did. Yeah.
Yep. Let's just go all in.
It went down exactly how I thought it would.
I just didn't have time to like really like I said, Minority Report was there, but because it's sci-fi in the future, I was just like, I don't know if that's the strongest pick. I hadn't seen Major Payne, and I was like, maybe for once in my life, I'll enjoy a Wayans project.
So you never made it clear how much your hatred towards them prior. Had we known, we would have suggested White Chicks.
Oh, God. Just never. Can't wait to never watch another Wayans project.
Well, I can't wait until we do our Wayans movie special week.
You're gonna find somebody else for that week. I'm not gonna be there.
So the only thing left in this conversation, guys, is to understand where we're going next week. I have pulled the random thing out of the random box that we have here, opened it up. We're going to the state of Kentucky.
Ooh.
Yeah. Interesting. There's some interesting movies. I know exactly the movie I'm choosing. It's going to be a little bit unexpected, but I can't wait to talk about it. Fellas, thank you once again for picking ridiculous and amazing movies and joining me to talk about it. Also, thank you to you guys at home dropping your comments and your suggestions in my videos, in Will's videos. popping in on our Reddit and watching the race. Like I said, we're very happy about that. And our Facebook page, you can find us as that United States of a Movie Podcast on Facebook. You can find us on Reddit. You can find me as That Englishman in Texas or Oli Pettigrew on Facebook. You can find Will as Entitled Willennial. And then you can find Ryan's designs. He's often talking about, I'm wearing one right now, my Wraith t-shirt.
Yeah, baby.
Will is wearing the imaginary movie Rickshaw. There's all kinds of designs you can find on his Threadless, right? Is it?
Yeah, Threadless. Yeah, we'll link to it in the description below too.
Threadless.com/Rhino Digital, RYNO Digital. It's actually making some pretty good money off that store. I'm very, very proud of you.
As we were talking, I just got a notification. My poster I ordered from Ryan just showed up. So.
Ooh. Someone ordered a United States of a Movie mug. God bless you. Yeah, you're keeping this thing going, people. I love it. I love it.
But we do appreciate all of you that take the time to listen, that take the time to watch. If you are watching right now on YouTube and you haven't subscribed, hit the notification bell.
Yeah,
it's crazy. Drop some comments. Tell us all about how Will is wrong about Major Payne. That'd be great. Also, don't forget, drop us a message on Facebook. Anything else like that. If you're listening to us on Spotify or Apple, rate us, review us, give us 5 stars, please. Share, tell your friends, and just join in the conversation because we do enjoy doing this. You can join us next time when we head to the state of Kentucky. But Will, thank you for being very honest about our movies this week.
Very, very, very wrong.
Ryan, thank you very much for making me laugh harder than I've ever laughed while watching a movie. And guys, let's set up a Zoom. We'll watch one of these movies we were talking about. I think it'd be great. But for everybody,
what was the movie? What were we just talking about?
I don't know. We're gonna have to get on the text thread and figure that one out.
Already forgot.
Listen to the podcast. We'll remember. But to everybody at home, thank you so much. We'll see you next time on the United States of a Movie Podcast.